And we are live now. Here's SummerSlam 2014 preview and predictions on the Chase Oliver channel. What is up, guys? Your boy Chase Oliver here, bringing you another video to my channel. And right now we are here to talk about SummerSlam 2014. You guys are more than welcome to join the conversation. Comment section down below to talk about what you think about SummerSlam 2014. I am not alone in this video. I have YouTubers Okayfabe and HeelSteven with me to discuss this big event for the WWE. What is up, you guys? How's it going?
Nothing much, man. Just came out of work, and now
I thought it was Summerfest. I didn't think it was SummerSlam.
Oh, sorry.
Summerfest, Summer Jam, SummerSlam,
Summer Scoop.
Slam Summer. Oh, I slammed Summer.
Spring Stampede.
I slammed
wrong
Summer.
promotion. Wrong promotion.
Winterfest at Winter.
Yes, so we're here to talk about SummerSlam 2014 live on the WWE Network for only
$9.99 a month.
$9.99 a month.
Also, if you are not a person that's committed to obligations, you can even pay $12.99. I think it's a month. A month. If you're not committed.
Yeah, so those for all the people who just want to watch the big four pay-per-views every year. But yes, it's going to be live on the WWE Network, and some pay-per-view providers live in Los Angeles, California, the Staples Center. It's going to be hot. So this looks like a good show. What are your thoughts, Okayfabe, heading into SummerSlam 2014? Without giving predictions, just looking at the card, what are your thoughts about this show overall?
Sorry, one quick second. Actually, ask Steven first because I got some background noise coming on. So.
All right, Steven, what are your thoughts about the show heading into it?
Well, let's see here. I mean, a lot of people are having this huge expectation that, that Brock Lesnar is finally gonna end Cena's, title reign, his 15th title reign. That's what everybody wants to see, right?
Yeah.
That's what everyone is planning on, and they're hoping for, and they're praying right now. And it's funny because a couple of months ago when Brock conquered the streak, people were sending him death threats and all that shit. And you're the same people that are praying right now. Please, Brock, please end the streak. And I guarantee you, hypothetically speaking, if Cena is to retain, they're going to go, worst SummerSlam ever. Tweet!
Seriously.
But again, I'm expecting a great show nonetheless on the WWE Network for $9.99 a month. And
how's that paycheck going, Steven? With the WWE paycheck for saying that every single time.
Oh man, yo, bounced, man. Them junks be bouncing.
All right, okay, Fabe. What are your thoughts on SummerSlam 2014 heading into it?
Well, for a while, and I don't know if I've said this in the previous video or wherever have you, but for a while I feel like, generally speaking, SummerSlam has lacked a lot of hype and a lot of anticipation for decent matches. I mean, yeah, there's a couple that you kind of want to see, but SummerSlam in theory is supposed to be the second biggest pay-per-view in the year next to WrestleMania, or at least it used to be. And I feel like there was a lot of hype and lacking of big matches that you wanted to see, and this one, surprisingly, at least overall, is a fairly decent card between Lesnar and Cena. I mean, even the Stephanie-Brie match, which is debatable, it at least gets some decent build into it. And you're kind of piggybacking off the Daniel Bryan story. You've got a decent mid-card between the IC title and a couple of other in-between matches. But, I mean, overall speaking, I feel like it's gotten a lot better build and a little bit more importance to it than it has definitely in the past years. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
I agree. I'm looking forward to SummerSlam 2014. I always feel SummerSlam, it's always that one show that WWE can fall back on. If they're having a really, really bad year, it's just a terrible year for the company to start off. Here comes SummerSlam, and SummerSlam normally puts on a good to great show. Sometimes bad show, but most of the time you will get a good to great match that carries that SummerSlam, such as, let's look at 2009 SummerSlam. That show was okay, but you had three great matches with Legacy and DX and Hardy versus Punk and Rey Mysterio and Dolph Ziggler to really help carry that show. You look at SummerSlam 2010, which was a really bad show, and you could see how the rest of the year for the WWE went. 2011 SummerSlam, good show, and you saw how the year went for the WWE at the end of it all. 2012 SummerSlam, mediocre show, and you saw how the year ended. So really, SummerSlam's always that good starting point to know, like, is the fall time going to be hot for the WWE, or if it's just going to be lackluster as hell, and you're just going to be bored and wanting to turn off the channel. But I hope they need this SummerSlam to deliver. They really need SummerSlam 2014 to deliver on all levels, because this is the show they need the most, because this is the show that they've been building the network around. Pretty much this is the show that they hope, boost network subscriptions. So let's hope they can deliver a good show. Let's get started with the predictions. We're going to be talking about Miz versus Dolph Ziggler for the IC title. HeelSteven, what is your thoughts on this matchup and who you think is going to win?
Well, let's see here. Dolph Ziggler's been on a roll as of late. He beat Miz a couple weeks ago after, Miz won the title in that non-title match, and it kind of, made you think that was a great match on Raw.
Yes.
Remember that when he beat him and all that, and you think about it, Dolph has been on a roll, like I've said previously, and it makes you think that he's finally gonna take it. But I do believe in some way, shape, or form, Miz will retain. I see it happening. It's a shame because the reason why he had the title is because they're promoting his movie, The Marine, which is already on DVD pretty much.
Yeah.
Marine 5? What is it, 5.5?
4.0.
That's Marine 4.
But
Why are there 4?
Because WWE needs money.
Yes.
They want your money, so they'll make anything. If they can make a movie off diarrhea,
they'll do it.
I saw the trailer.
Yeah, it's on Bang Bros right now. From the makers of Two Girls, One Cup and Pain Olympics.
And the DVD only costs
$9.99 a month.
Alrighty then. Okay, Fabe, what do you think about this matchup here between Miz and Dolph Ziggler, and who do you think is going to win?
I got to agree with Steven. I think that Miz is going to retain for a couple of reasons. One, they've kind of... Obviously, WWE has some form of investment in the Miz's new heel character. Obviously, they gave him the freaking Intercontinental Championship for some reason. God knows why. But, I mean, if you look at the build-up, too, and you look at the way they've been building up Ziggler, even though he's been on a roll, he's playing the underdog. And considering Miz's strong run as Intercontinental Champion right now, where he's been basically coming out looking like $1 million, I think that you'll probably see either Miz retain in a heel-like fashion, or maybe even a controversial ending, like a disqualification after Ziggler hits his money maker. And plus, it would garnish a lot of great heat for him because he's from LA, the SummerSlam's in LA, and it's just like kind of that whole hometown advantage. But mainly the fact is that I see WWE has put a decent amount of investment and interest in the Miz's new heel character, so I don't see them pulling the plug on him being IC champion. At least
I agree with you guys here, because I think that the Miz has just been doing a good job as IC champion. I feel every time they give the Miz a title, they make him a big feature deal. They always say, hey, here's the Miz. It doesn't matter if you like or love the Miz. They feature him very, very well. And the thing is, I don't think right now is the time to pull the trigger and give Dolph Ziggler the belt. It would be a nice little bone to throw to the fans to give Dolph Ziggler an IC title and make fans believe, like, oh, Ziggler is now going to the moon. He's going to win the world title down the line. But in all honesty, I don't think it's time to pull the trigger. I agree with what like Okayfabe said. I think there's going to be some screwy DQ finish. Roll up pin. Yeah, cheap win by The Miz. The Miz ain't going to win this one cleanly. He's going to win this one cheaply. I see this continuing on to Night of Champions, which I won't have a problem with because it would make sense. But what I will say...
Do you think this match will open the show?
Yes. I think it will. I think this is the perfect match to open the show.
If not, it's going to be within the first 3.
Yeah, it's going to be one of the first.
But I will say this too, though. I didn't say it earlier. I think this match has potential to be the match of the night.
Yes,
in some way, shape, or form, because it's Dolph Ziggler. You know what I'm saying? And they've had a match of the night before on Raw, like I said. So it could happen.
Yeah, no, it definitely has that potential. And the one thing I was going to say before we move on to the next match is that I really like how they've been building up Dolph Ziggler as a challenger here. Because most of the time when they build up challengers for the mid-card belts, they make these guys look like chumps and bums. Like they have them lose every week on TV. And now all of a sudden, Dolph Ziggler, he actually looks really good. He's been winning matches. He's only losing because Miz is distracting him. It's not like he's getting losing really badly on TV. He's been looking really dominant. So that's refreshing to see. So this matchup, it could go either way. That's what I like about the SummerSlam card too. Like a lot of these matchups, they're not as predictable as a lot of people would say they are. Like anyone could win these matchups. So
and that's the way it was. And that's the way it should be. I don't know about you guys. I like being wrong.
Yes,
I
same
like.
here. I do.
Me too.
I do too.
I
I
don't
like
want
I
to
like
know
watching
everything.
it and having my jaw just go.
Exactly.
Yeah, which is a very rare thing nowadays. I mean, nowadays, with the power of the internet and spoilers and everything, it's nice. And that's why I love the Royal Rumble every now and then, because you generally know who's going to win, but you're not quite pinned down 100% most of the time.
Oh yeah.
I just hate those rumbles where you'll have like 6 guys in the ring, and then out of the 6 guys, 3 get eliminated, and then 4 guys come in, and then 3 guys get eliminated. But it's
Yeah.
like an empty ring. I hate that type of shit. It's random, but there you go.
Sometimes I think the Rumble gets too crowded at times, but yeah, we're all predicting The Miz to retain the IC title. Next up, we got the Divas Championship match between Divas Champion AJ Lee and Paige. Okayfabe, what are your thoughts about this Divas title match, feud, build-up, and who do you think is going to walk out as the Divas Champion?
This one I've got a love-hate relationship with. I feel like in ring, these two, if they're given enough time frame and enough free reign, they could put on a killer match, or at least have the opportunity to put on a killer match. The build, however, makes me angry. Not because it's horrible, but it's just confusing. Like, they're doing this whole frenemies, neutral, gray area with Paige where she's a friend, but she'll kick your ass, but she wants the title, but she'll give you a hug. It makes me, it hurts right here. Yeah. And you don't need that. Paige is a much better heel. I've seen her in NXT. She's a phenomenal heel.
Yeah,
just
exactly.
Let her be full-blown heel, for the love of God. Just let it happen.
I think
AJ can pick up the slack as a babyface. Just let it go. Let it go. That's my only real issue with it. I mean, if you just made Paige clear-cut heel, had her turn at, what was it, Battleground? Yeah, Battleground, then let him go. You could carry that feud, depending on what other factors involved and how well the writing was. You can keep that going till Survivor Series. And especially where the Divas division has been lacking a really strong, powerful, long-term female feud, this would be just what the Divas division needs to start really getting it amped up and really getting excited.
I agree. Steven, what about you?
I feel like this match can go easily 12 minutes and tear the house down.
Yeah.
Give us at least 12 minutes. It's all we ask for from these two. And I think, you know what, they have the potential to give us, a fucking amazing match. The problem is, though, the people in creative, they might have some different thing. They may even give us 2 minutes. But I do agree, it's confusing. It's like 1 minute they're friends, 1 minute, they're enemies, 1 minute they're frenemies. Like, what the fuck is it, But I'll say this too, I'm happy that Paige is finally, the anti-diva. Then again, she really isn't yet. She really isn't.
No, she isn't yet. She's like what I commit this Paige character to. I put it to 2 characters that the WWE's trying to meld together. They're trying to meld the Mickie James character along with that Eddie Guerrero character when Guerrero was playing best friends with Batista. Do you remember that, Eddie? They're trying to meld those 2 characters kind of together. They're trying to mix them both up, because I personally like when they do relationships on the WWE TV. It makes these people feel more real and organic. And I feel one of the main missing points of this Paige and AJ Lee feud is that they're just trying to make Paige kind of like this psycho diva gimmick. How many times do we have to go back to the psycho well for a diva character? It's like almost every time, like, oh, we don't know what to do with this diva? Make her into a psycho bitch. That works all the time. No, like, why couldn't they do it where, Paige came out and, just acted like Eddie Guerrero did with Batista, like friends don't shake hands, they hug, and they do like this, like, and you could see it in Eddie's eyes and have it where I think Paige can pull it off, or she could do what like Eddie did, do funny little skits. Paige can't wrestle tonight in a tag team match, her stomach's not feeling good or something like that. They should have went down the Batista and Eddie route with this feud instead of this. I don't know what Paige's character is. I'm not fond of the Paige's character right now, but I think she's doing a good job performing at this character. I'll say she's definitely much more entertaining on my television set. But who do you guys have winning? I want to know who you guys have winning.
Then again, this though as well, I think you might find I think AJ Lee lost all credibility after losing last night to Eva Marie.
Yeah.
Which kind of sucks, but she didn't even like make an effort to try to kick out, and she just got rolled up like 1, 2, 3. But I think I think they might have AJ retain.
All right. What about you? Okay,
Have us
Fabe.
carry on to Night of Champions, and that's where Paige finally takes it back.
What about you? Okay, Fabe.
Before I give my predictions, there's two things I wanted to piggyback off of the last comment. First off, you're right. They were trying to make him like the Eddie Guerrero character, except, with all due respect to Paige, Eddie is was a much better performer in
Oh
that.
yeah. Oh yeah. Hell yeah.
So
There's
it's
no
kind of
denying
like,
it.
doomed to live up to the hype. And the other thing too is, you're right about the psycho bitch thing. And here's another thing that I didn't realize too: they're trying to make Paige look like a psycho bitch against a psycho bitch.
Yeah, exactly.
Doesn't really work well. If I were them, I personally want Paige to win, because it would give the story purpose to continue. Because if AJ beats Paige, then it's like, okay, she beat you twice, 3 times at this point. Now what? So my hope is that Paige would win, but knowing WWE, chances are they're probably not going to continue this feud. So I wouldn't be surprised if, because Paige has been getting the upper hand a lot, wouldn't be surprised that AJ walks out with the belt at SummerSlam. Summerfest, sorry.
Summerfest, whichever one. But well, I don't know why I'm getting a bunch of text messages.
For $9.99.
For $9.99. But anyways, I agree with you, okay, Fabe. I think Paige should win this match, because in all honesty, I always get sick and tired when WWE turns a wrestler heel or babyface and they don't go all the way with them. Look, if you're going to turn this character and have them go after a belt, make them go all the way. Especially remember when Alicia Fox was doing that heel gimmick? I felt they should have taken the belt off of Paige. I felt that would have been a perfect way to take the belt off of Paige, and you could have used Paige's star power somewhere else. To me, AJ Lee, she doesn't bring much to the Divas division, in my opinion. It's not like every time AJ Lee's on there, the Divas division rises in the ratings. I feel like you could use AJ Lee in other feuds in the Divas division and build layers off of that. Like, use Paige to, as your heel character, build her up more as a heel and keep on doing that work. But what I'm predicting is, I predict this match to end in a disqualification. I don't think we're going to have a clear-cut winner here. I think that it's going to happen where pretty much Paige is going to actually blow her fucking gasket in this match. It'll just be like, Paige can't believe she can't beat AJ, and she will just blow her gasket, go outside the ring, throw her around a little bit, beat the shit out of her. Referee has to call for the bell. It's all over. And then Paige is just pissed off. And then what I would do also is just have Paige take the Divas title and just skip around, and then afterwards walk out of SummerSlam. Even though she didn't win the match, she walks out the Divas title because she's like, oh, I beat the shit out of AJ Lee. So that's what I would do. But knowing the WWE, they would just have AJ Lee win clean. But I feel like Paige definitely needs to win.
So you'll go the Chael Sonnen route.
Yeah.
Even though he thought he won, he beat Silva, but he wore a belt and all that.
Yeah, why not? If you're gonna make her cycle, make her go all the way with it. Make her delusional about this shit. Why not?
I would have not given her the belt so fast. That was.
Or if not, you know what they could do also, just to be ultimate insult, have her come out with the women's title.
Ah, that'd be cool.
Have her come out with the women's title. Like, yeah, I'm not the divas. I'm the anti-diva. I'm a women's. Like
I do like the women's title design better than the Divas title design, that's for sure. Alrighty then. So now we get on to another match. Normally I would have talked about this match later on, but this has been such generic ass booking, we got to talk about it now. Jericho versus Bray Wyatt, the Eater of Worlds. Steven, kick this off. What do you think about this feud in this match, and who do you have winning?
I mean, honestly, it's one of those things where we wish it could have gone to a different route, but it's like, Jericho won a Battleground, so you would assume now, we all hope, that Bray Wyatt wins. He has to win. You know what I mean? But it's one of those things where it's like, after that, what? Are they going to carry this feud, or I don't know, but hopefully Bray finally wins and beats Jericho, which is going to happen 9 times out of 10. But again, is one thing what we want to see happen, another thing what people in creative have in mind. And who knows really what they have in mind? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Who knows? Who knows what the WWE is thinking with this match? I'm just not into this feud. Okay, Faye, what are your thoughts about Jericho versus Bray Wyatt?
Yeah, I feel like I don't want to say rushed it, but that's probably the best phrase I can think of. I think they're relying way too much on Wyatt's mic skills to hype up the match. Not saying they're not good. There's a totally different thing. I feel like that they are essentially the anchor of this entire rivalry is Wyatt's mic skills. Now, granted, he has fantastic mic skills. He's one of my favorites. But they're to me, they're solely relying on that. Yeah, he's doing the attacks, but everything more or less revolves around him talking. If I were them and I really wanted to get this feud off the ground, I would do the exact opposite. I would have Wyatt almost speak very seldomly until the last Raw before SummerSlam.
Exactly.
And then that's when you get captivated, because great talkers can only be great so often. You can't get a gem out of them every single time. That's not a fault on Wyatt. It's not a fault on anybody. We're all just human. You can't expect everybody to be a fantastic talker all the time.
Yes.
So I think that they, like Steven said, this feud could have been one of the best. And I think that in WWE's mind, they probably felt the same way. But I feel like they've relied too heavily on something that did so well with John Cena to kind of do that same thing with them. So it's kind of like a double-edged sword. But
I think also, people fail to realize too that, people are so attracted to Bray because of his mic ability. But his in-ring is still a little green, in my opinion.
Yeah, I just think that, he talks too much, and that's one of the things that hurts a Bray Wyatt character. I mean, it's like, Bray Wyatt's not The Rock, people. It's not like he has catchphrases. He doesn't go out there and say, finally, The Rock has come back, and the fans can interact with that and say the hometown and all that. If you smell what The Rock is cooking, Bray Wyatt changes what he says all the time, and it's just like, they make him talk too much. I don't think he has had a match since Battleground, like a TV match since Battleground.
I'll give you also a perfect example. I'll give you another example, too. I was at Extreme Rules at the Izod Center.
Mm-hmm.
And on my way to the venue, people were chanting, he's got the whole world, going into the... People were just saying it the whole night. You don't hear that anymore. Because the character got bland.
Yes.
Yeah, I hate to say it, but you're right. And I feel like he got himself to the dance and got himself to that level with his skill and his mic skill. But now... they're just literally they just stuck a pump in it, and they just keep pumping it up, and the well's starting to run dry.
That's
a bad motion, by the way.
This is what happens to everybody. Every heel in the company, that get a push, sooner or later they bump into that wall known as John Cena. And when they do, 9 times out of 10, you don't go through that wall.
Oh no, you just hit that wall smack dab in the middle, and Cena smiles at you.
So I really don't hope to see a Seth Rollins Cena feud or a Rusev Cena feud, because once that happens, it's back to the mid card for them.
Oh, it's back to mid card hell, man. And that's something we don't want to see. But Jericho and Wyatt, I hope this match is better than their Battleground match, because I wasn't a fan of that match. I thought it was botchy as all hell.
Or the NXT match they had.
It was all Wyatt. I rewatched it not that long ago. It was all Wyatt except for Jericho, except for the finisher. Maybe 5 moves, maybe less than that.
Jericho definitely, I'll say this about his run right now, he's definitely looking a lot slower. He's not looking like the Chris Jericho we all know and love. And honestly, this is probably his worst run since coming back. I still love you, Jericho. I still love listening to the Talk is Jericho and everything, but this is by far not his best run in the WWE. Kind of lackluster.
That's not necessarily his fault, though.
Yeah, it's not his fault. But I'm just saying it's a lackluster run.
His age, pretty much. His age. It gets to you finally,
Yeah, and plus he's also doing Fozzy tours on the same time as WWE. And, of course, remember, Jericho, he said it before, his main priority is Fozzy. He likes wrestling as a hobby on the side. So, it is what it is. But I have Wyatt winning here. They gave Jericho the win at Battleground. Wyatt's going to win, and they probably will have one blow-off match at Night of Champions. What's your prediction on that, Steven?
Yeah, I'm going with Wyatt also. Again, right now we can say, we want Bray Wyatt to win, and that could be the plan right now. Bray Wyatt's going to go over on Jericho. But who's to say, the night of the show, before the match happens, Chris, hey, guys, listen, so we have another plan. Jericho's going to go over, and you're going to lose. You're going to tap out to the walls of Jericho. You're going to try to fight it out. You're going to try to fight it and crawl to the rope, but you can't do it. And then you'll probably get the win at Night of Champions.
And knowing Bray Wyatt, he'll probably co-sign on that because he co-signed him losing to Cena at Mania. So
it's gonna happen.
Yeah. Okay, Fab. Who do you have winning this match?
I think Bray's going to win, only because they need to have the rubber match at Night of Champions. Not saying they won't have the rubber, but if Jericho wins twice, then it's just kind of like, oh, well, I'm going to go follow the buzzards over here now. But I think maybe we might see the return of the little Wyatt, the little kid that helped with Cena's cage match.
No, it wasn't. No, that wasn't his voice. That wasn't his voice. It was like, he got the whole world. That was his voice.
No, that's
that kid hit puberty way too soon.
Harper and Rowan theme song.
Yeah, the
I wouldn't be surprised if you saw some sort of BS with the lights. Like, I was just thinking about this. Like maybe Jericho puts him at the walls, and then you see the graphic. Yeah, and then you wait, you hear it again, and miraculously Jericho's out cold.
Yeah, then Bray Wyatt gets the win there. So. Yeah,
I've always been a fan of that kind of like controversial BS thing with the lights. I always was a fan of that because it's just such cheap heat.
Especially when Kane used to do it back in the day. When Kane would do, oh, it's gotta be Kane! Kane! Oh, using the
the flash, it's Kane!
My God, it's Kane. It's corporate Kane.
Oh, fuck corporate Kane.
He got rid of the mask. You know why though, right? You know why he got rid of the mask, right?
Foresee No Evil too? Oh, budget cuts. I thought it was Foresee No Evil.
I heard he sold the mask on eBay for
$9.99.
Yes.
Alrighty then. Now we get on to another mid-card match. And then after this mid-card match, we get into the big featured matches that the WWE is hyping up for this show. Jack Swagger versus Rusev in a flag match. Oh my God, the flag match. Like what I remember my friend Justin, who I talked to, called JD Venom here on YouTube. He does a CAW show called FCW and a bunch of other video game content. He was saying, man, Rusev really wants a flag match with someone because he is carrying that Russian flag like he means it. He wants a flag match, and here we have it, Jack Swagger versus Rusev. Now, I don't think the WWE was planning this match to happen. I don't think the WWE was looking to have a flag match between Rusev and Swagger. I really thought if Sheamus never got sick or went missing, they were going to have Rusev and Sheamus for the U.S. title. That's just my opinion. Fella! But yeah, I really think they wanted Sheamus and Rusev, but since Sheamus got sick and he was filming Star Wars or doing whatever the fuck Sheamus likes to do.
Apparently he had a flu, but he was caught at the pub.
At a strip club, right? Yeah, he was at a strip club.
In Dublin, drinking a pint.
He stuck out like a white thumb.
Drinking a pint with his mates.
Imagine seeing him in like a pitch black neon room with like strobe lights, and you just see this bright white Casper ghost looking at him. It's like out of nowhere. It's like, oh, what the? Oh, wow. Okay, you're right there.
Sheamus dancing at a fucking club.
Yeah, that blank like what do you call it? The obsessed girlfriend stare.
Sheamus.
Freaking cray.
Okay, Faye, what do you think about this flag match between Rusev and Swagger?
I agree. I agree that I don't think this match was supposed to happen because if you notice, they kind of like didn't mention the Swagger Rusev feud for like a week or two, and then it's like, we're gonna have a flag match at SummerSlam. I love this angle. I'm a big fan of it because it's simple. It's very easy to understand. It's not overly complicated and complex.
Exactly.
I've been building for 7 months. He didn't screw his girlfriend's ex-wife's boyfriend's mother's husband's uncle's best friend's neighbor's pig. It's very easy. It's very simple. No one needs to get more complicated. That's what I miss about the 80s. The 80s were very simple, easy to understand rivalry. So as cliche as it is, it's still a fantastic rivalry. And to be honest, Swagger's been a little bit better in terms of his in-ring ability, or at least been given the opportunity still, at least last on Raw. So it's nice that at least there's a mutual beneficial win for both of them in this case. I'm just hoping Swagger doesn't end up like the bottom of the barrel again for this, but we'll see.
Okay. Let's be on. I didn't cut you off. My bad, bro. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, I was just going to ask you what were your thoughts, so go right ahead.
All right, okay. A couple of things I want to say about this. Number one, if you were to tell me a couple months ago that once the Real Americans would break up, during the summertime, Jack Swagger would be more over than Cesaro, I would not believe you. But it is. It is. Swagger is super over right now. Okay? And I think because it's a flag match, it's a gimmick match, they're going to have Swagger go over. But still, they're gonna say, "Oh, but Rusev was never pinned or submitted, so he's still undefeated."
Yes, they're going to give him the Samoa Joe treatment.
But here's my thing, though. After this, though, what's next for Swagger? What's next? You'll assume that he'll go back to, back to the bottom of the well again.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Or if you're gonna still keep him a babyface, like you plan on doing, what about Zeb Coulter? I mean, he's gonna have to either part way. 'Cause I think that's gonna happen too. They're gonna happen. Yeah. They're gonna have him probably the big blow off, and maybe have Rusev beat him up. That might happen too, but I do see Swagger. I do see Swagger winning, though. I do see him winning, just so everyone can have that moment saying "We the people" in the Staples Center. I would not be surprised. I would not be surprised though if, because it's SummerSlam, the biggest show of the summer, they have Nikolai Volkov come out to perform the Russian national anthem for Rusev.
That'd be amazing. That'd be awesome.
That's all I know.
What were you gonna say? Okayfabe?
Yeah, that's my fear too. Is that I don't mind the Swagger All-American American push. I actually wouldn't be upset if they kept him in the babyface role, maybe separate him from Coulter. I wouldn't mind him getting one last U.S. title run in that role to drop it ultimately to somebody else. At least that would give the U.S. title something to do.
Yeah. To me personally, I as much as I would agree with that, maybe Swagger will win this match because it's a good way for Rusev to take a loss here. I just really feel like the WWE, they don't have anything for Swagger after SummerSlam. I don't feel like they look at Swagger as a long-term option, and they want to get Sheamus away from that U.S. title scene and possibly bump him up to the main event scene soon, because there's been talks that, since January, they wanted Sheamus to be back into that world title scene again. So I wouldn't be surprised if Rusev won this match here and then they move him on forward to the U.S. title. That's just my opinion. I think that's what they're going to do with it here, is where Rusev wins. And also because I'm looking at the card so far, you have to have an equal balance to me in wrestling where heels and baby faces win. And I just think this would be the greatest heat getter for Rusev. Everyone thinks it's clearly obvious that Jack Swagger is going to pull down the American flag, USA, USA, and everyone's going to be all happy about it. And then afterwards, you just have Rusev pull off the flag. You have the Russian flag. I think that's perfect heel heat for SummerSlam 2014. I think it would go much better if Rusev wins this flag match, in my opinion. So I wouldn't be against Swagger winning because it would make a cool SummerSlam moment for Jack Swagger, probably his biggest moment in his career besides winning the Money in the Bank. But I think Rusev, I think he would benefit more from a win here than Jack Swagger.
And have confetti come out with the balloons.
Yeah, exactly. I think that would work, in my personal opinion. Why not?
Especially in one of the biggest cities of the country, on one of the biggest stages in terms of a singles match. We have the Patriots, and it's just like everything working together and piled up at the right moment.
Yeah.
I would not be surprised if you saw Rusev win the match, but Swagger gets the final cock of the walk afterwards. Yeah. So essentially, Rusev remains undefeated, and he still gets that victory. But it's Swagger at the end who clears the ring and still waves the flag. So even though he lost, he still gets the adoration in his moment during the feud. I mean,
they're kind of like Lex Luger when he won against Yokozuna in 1993. And
oh my God! No, but yeah, that's right. There's ways that WWE kind of twists things, and hell, they even did it back in the day where when Flair would go around and defend the NWA World title, he would defend against the top faces. The faces would win, but then they're like, oh, because of Rule 73-B4A, you violated in this match, therefore you win the match, but Flair keeps the belt. And so
they used to do that with Magnum TA all the time when Magnum TA would go for the title. Yeah.
Right. And so they could kind of do that with the Swagger Rusev thing, where Rusev gets the win, but Swagger gets the cock of the walk and the boast afterwards. I don't know, shoves the flag up his ass or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, see, either way, I think the winner of this match, it doesn't matter to me. It will just be a good moment for them nonetheless. I think both guys, win or lose, are winners at the end of the day. And that's a good thing about this matchup right here. No guy looks like they're going to get too hurt at the end of the day when it comes down to it. All right, now it's time to talk about the big four matches, the featured matches for SummerSlam 2014. These are the matches that you are looking forward to. These are the matches where you're telling everybody, don't bother me. I am watching these fucking matches, because these are the featured matchups, and we got two young stars going at it in a lumberjack match. Dean Ambrose versus Seth Rollins. Really good feud in a lumberjack match. Stephen, what do you think about this being a lumberjack match?
Here's what I see. Honestly, I would have preferred to be a different stipulation, maybe a cage match,
That
maybe.
works too. That
Or
works
if
too.
not, you know what? A no holds bar match, anything goes, whatever, right? But here's what I see happening, okay? Now, this will also come into effect with the main event, okay? Have Ambrose go over in this one.
Mm, I
Have him
agree.
go over. But who's to say that Cena wins and have Brock destroy Cena at the end of the match and have Rollins cash in? Then the following night on Raw, have Rollins with his suit, celebrating him being the new champion, right? With the new belt, the new logo belt is coming up,
Yeah,
right? Ambrose come out and say, "Hey, wait a minute, I beat you at SummerSlam in that lumberjack match that I chose as a stipulation. Now you're the champion. That means now I'm entitled to a title match. So now the champions, that could work. But again, you say, oh, but it's too early, which I agree to. It's too early. But I do
At
see.
this point, I wouldn't say it's too early if Seth Rollins won the title, and here's why. The WWE does need new stars. They need new people to hold the belt. And if you're going to introduce a new title and claim this as a new era, Seth Rollins, he may not be the number one option, but that's definitely an option that you could look at and say, hey, this is a new era for the WWE. We're not doing the same old crap, that you predict we're going to do. Here's a new guy. It's not the Roman Reigns that you guys were all expecting. It's not Dean Ambrose. It's Seth Rollins, the most unlikely guy that you thought from the Shield who would win the world title. He's our champion. So it could work. I mean, yes, it would be early, but I don't think it would be a bad early. I think it would be a fine early, if you ask me.
Absolutely, yeah. Absolutely.
But that just takes too much logic and thinking for the WWE to do, and normally they don't like to do that, too much thinking. That hurts Triple H's brain sometimes when they
Yeah,
think a
it
little bit
does.
too much. Um, what about you, Okayfabe? What do you think about this matchup? Oh,
Yeah, the
oh,
lumberjack match stip threw me off. I honestly, in my mind, like deadlocked. I could have sworn it was gonna be false count anywhere, given the fact that they were been brawling all over the place. But anyway, um, I feel like Dean needs this win. Seth has been on such a ride with Money in the Bank and hell, even the Battleground thing. Even though they've been brawling, they've pretty much been brawling the whole time, and Seth's been winning his matches and Dean winning his. And piggybacking off what Steven said, that can instantly, if Dean beats him and then Seth cashes in, whether it be that night or later in the road, Dean can say, "Hey, I beat you, so work over that title match, bitch."
yeah,
Um, and I think that they definitely need to throw those guys, definitely starting to toss them into the upper title picture to start diversifying it. Even with, like we said earlier, with Sheamus, and just start to make the championship scene interesting again. But as
exactly.
far as the match itself, I think Dean definitely needs this win if they plan on moving him up further. So
Yeah, I agree. I'm not a fan of the lumberjack match, like you guys said. I feel it could have been false count anywhere. I mean, I guess it's an okay matchup for
$9.99.
just for a feud, but it's like this is like more for battleground. This ain't a SummerSlam match, like a falls count anywhere between two former best friends. No, like a lumberjack between two former best friends. I mean, I saw an unsanctioned match between Triple H and Shawn Michaels. That was between two former best friends. I mean, why not do something like that between these guys? That feels more personal to me than
Cage would be
just
better
doing
too.
a lumberjack match. So, really, to be honest here, it's the rule of the Money in the Bank. Ever since the Money in the Bank pay-per-view has been created, if you win one of the Money in the Banks, you're going to look like the bitch at SummerSlam. Look at The Miz in 2010. Oh, I'm going to join Team WWE. The final member of Team WWE is Daniel Bryan. Look at 2011. Yes, 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 Daniel Bryan. He's the Mr. Money in the Bank. Oh, I got some bad news for you because Wade Barrett beat him in a match at SummerSlam 2011. Dolph Ziggler versus Chris Jericho. Oh, Jericho's going to put over Ziggler. Jericho's going to put over Ziggler. Jericho won in a surprising win in an opening match at SummerSlam 2012. SummerSlam 2013. Oh, Cody Rhodes and Damian Sandow. They're pushing Sandow to that top. Cody Rhodes ends up winning. So normally, for most cases, when you do have the briefcase
What
for
about Orton?
SummerSlam,
What about Orton?
I'm saying one of the briefcase holders, not all of them.
Oh.
It's like at least one of the briefcase holders has to look like a bitch at SummerSlam, and you know they take the loss at SummerSlam. And if you look at Seth, he did win the briefcase by hook or crook. He won the briefcase at Money in the Bank. That's already big enough for him. They had him get a cheap, sleazy heel win at Battleground. I mean, it still says in the record book Seth Rollins won. I mean, it says so on the WWE.com. It says so on the Wikipedia. You know, Seth Rollins won that match at Battleground. So give Dean the win here at SummerSlam, and then you could build it up for, you know, Night of Champions, one more blow-off match where Seth can get the win, like Steven and Okayfabe talked about. You know, have it where maybe the title's on the line. That would be something fresh and unique, but that would take too much logic for the WWE to really put out there. But like I said, yeah, you know, there's a bunch of possibilities they can go with this match. I believe this could be the match of the night, even with the Lumberjack stipulation. I still think this is going to be one of the best matches of the night for sure. So, yeah, that's one featured matchup I can't wait to see. Now, the next one, I'm a little bit worried about this next one because my boy Randy Orton's in it. But
I know it's funny. Someone actually wrote a comment. You got the haircut.
Yeah.
You should have to do the pose now.
Exactly. I do the pose all the time. But, you know, I'm a little bit worried about Randy Orton and Roman Reigns in a one-on-one singles match. I don't know if the reports are real, but I wouldn't be surprised with Randy Orton sandbagging Roman Reigns. And boy, if this turns out anything like any of Randy Orton and Sheamus matches, whew, that's not good for Roman Reigns. That is not good whatsoever. I'll go more into detail about this, but okay, Faye, what are your thoughts about Orton versus Reigns?
I feel like this is kind of thrown so randomly at the last minute. Like,
yeah.
Not saying the match is going to be horrible. It's just kind of like, oh, Orton, what are you doing? Nothing. Reigns, what are you doing? Nothing. We got a match. All right, let's do this. It's confusing. It's a little weird. I just feel like they really rushed it. I feel like they should have planted the seeds with this feud a lot sooner. I mean, yeah, okay, they did the Evolution Shield thing and da-da-da, but just, I don't know. The build to this makes me really not that interested, but as far as the match itself, it has the potential to be a very good show stealer.
Yes.
But,
if Orton wants to work for it.
In theory.
Yes.
I think most of us can probably agree, and I obviously could be wrong. I feel like most likely Reigns will be the one that walks out on this one. Yeah. So just I don't know. And they kind of look like they're teasing an Orton babyface turn. I don't know. It's weird. It's weird, rushed, and random.
Yeah.
Which is what I usually like, but not in this case.
I'm going to ask a second question after I get Steven's thoughts because I want to know if you think another matchup should have taken place with Roman Reigns. Steven, what are your thoughts of Reigns versus Orton?
I think what you're going to say is, I think it should have been Triple H and Reigns.
Yes, it should have. It should have.
That should have been. That should have been. I think, to my understanding, I read reports a couple months ago where that was supposed to be the match for SummerSlam and have, you know, Reigns go over big, and that would have launched him to the world title picture, pretty much, right?
Yeah.
And it would have made him look like $1 million. By the way, did you guys watch the Raw when Orton was coming out, when the night they announced Lesnar as the
yeah.
So literally Orton's walking to the ring and the apron, and then Reigns attacks them, and then they battle through, and they pan to Triple H in the ring, who's just like,
whatever.
Okay. Oh, there goes that plan.
Oh, whatever. Okay. But again, I think this match, either two things can happen. Either one, we're looking at a snore fest, or two, we can look at a good match.
Mm-hmm.
And again, it can go either way, depending what creative has in mind. That's the big thing also. But I do see Reigns going over.
Yeah, there's no way in hell Randy Orton's winning this match. Randy's going to do the job. And this is my biggest fear, is because Randy Orton, it's well documented, this dude will sandbag the fuck out of you if he does not feel like you're ready for the top. He did it with Sheamus at Royal Rumble 2010. Before you guys watch SummerSlam 2014 this year, go watch Royal Rumble 2010, Sheamus and Randy Orton. If you look at that match, you can tell Randy Orton is not even fucking trying. He is literally doing his best to bury the fuck out of Sheamus. Because here's the thing. You guys may not agree with the logic, but this is WWE's logic. in WWE's eyes, Randy Orton is one of their best in-ring wrestlers. You can hear from all the guys in the locker room in the back. Everyone considers Randy Orton to be one of the best guys in the middle of that ring. And if you go out there and you put on a bad match with Randy, you know what the WWE is going to say? They're going to be going back there. Vince is going to be saying, well, if you can't put on a good match with Randy, what makes you think you can put on a good match with John? You know, that's the thing. The WWE, like Randy Orton, he's always their kind of like stepping stone type of guy, their gatekeeper to, you know, you're ready for the main event scene. They know you're ready for the main title if you can put on great matches with Randy Orton. That's when they know, like, okay, this kid has something. And my biggest fear is that Orton isn't going to try. He is going to be a douche during this match. And Orton's douchebaggery, you can tell. If you see a bunch of rest holds, and within the first 4 minutes of this match, you guys are going to say, God damn it, Randy Orton's being a douche in this match. He is not trying whatsoever. It's like kind of like with Shawn Michaels back in the old days. You knew Shawn was going to be a douche when he was like, like we would oversell everything.
Remember when he fought Hogan? He just completely like oversold everything. But anyway, I've heard that, and I could be wrong, but basically there's this supposed thing of like WWE's my fave 5. There's 5 wrestlers that they consider to be like their top 5 guys. Cena, Orton, I don't know who the others are, but essentially
I think it's Sheamus, Reigns, and Bryan. Those are their 5 guys.
That they use as a measuring stick. I think Punk was one of them before he, you know, had to go to the bathroom for 8 months. You know, I do fear that. I do fear that Orton could sandbag this one, especially because I've heard backstage rumblings that Randy Orton is not liking Roman's sudden push, so it could go either way.
Yeah, because the thing with Randy, I don't think he has anything against Roman Reigns as a person. The thing with Randy is if he feels someone is not ready for the top, he does not try. That's just the bottom line. Like, you notice he will try with Daniel Bryan because Randy will agree, saying, oh, Daniel Bryan's ready for it. But if he doesn't really talk highly about you and he doesn't feel like you're ready, it's just the bottom line. And, you know, Roman Reigns, I think he will win this match. If Randy Orton wins, holy fucking shit. That will just be the most surprising win. And then I'll say to myself, well, I guess WWE's audibling what they think about Roman Reigns. But ultimately, I think Reigns will win, and then we'll finally get that Reigns and Triple H match at Night of Champions where Triple H does his best burial of all time and buries the shit out of Roman Reigns.
There's the shovel.
Wouldn't be surprised if Orton stiffs the fuck out of Reigns.
Oh, yeah. Oh, he will. He will. I definitely think he will. I hope it's a good match. I really do. But just my biggest fear heading into this is that Randy Orton is going to be little douchebag Orton. And I love Randy. I love me some Randy Orton. Don't get me wrong. But he can pull that douchebaggery sometimes. But, yeah, no, I really think this is just all set up for Reigns versus Triple H, where Triple H might bury Reigns. And people might think that's crazy, but just remember, Triple H has not won a match yet this year in 2014. He needs to get his at the end of the day, and they will always make this bullshit excuse, oh, they can have Reigns win at Hell in a Cell, so it doesn't matter.
Imagine if he buries Roman Reigns with a shovel and he's whistling his theme song while he does it. Just stay down. No, I'll just say
oh, God.
Honey, throw Brie in here.
Throw Brie in here. And speaking of Brie, that's a great transition to Brie versus Stephanie McMahon, another featured matchup. Who would have ever thought that you would be talking about SummerSlam and a featured matchup would feature Brie fucking Bella?
$9.99.
$9.99.
You said about the last couple of Raws that if I were told you that Brie would get the final segment of Raw.
Yeah, I would have laughed. I would be like, no way they're going to put a Bella split up there.
What, bro? What? Final segment of Raw 2 weeks in a row? Are you serious, bro? Oh, fuck. Zack Ryder reference.
But, yeah, Brie Bella versus Stephanie. You know, will this be a good match? Only time will tell. This has definitely been the feud that they've been working hard for. Well, because, let's face it, Stephanie McMahon, and she gets to call her own shots at the end of the day. No one's going to overpower Stephanie and ruin Vince's little girl segment at the end of the day. I don't know how I really feel about this matchup. Steven, what are your thoughts about this one, Brie versus Steph?
I feel like this is not a wrestling match. This is more of an angle than anything. And it's crazy to see that this, being an angle, more than a match, has more build than Rollins and Ambrose. And it goes back to what Matt from In the Rope Show said last week on the podcast. You know, it's one of those things where people will be more invested in seeing Stephanie McMahon wrestle than Ambrose and Rollins, because obviously Stephanie, in a way, draws more money. Do I agree with them?
They don't want to see her wrestle. They want to see her get her ass kicked.
Exactly. Now, again, I don't see this. I don't. This is not the kind of thing where you're going to expect to see, you know, headlocks and suplexes, and that's not going to happen. They're going to be more of hair pulling, takedowns, a ref spot. I wouldn't be surprised. You know, a ref just falls down in some weird, crazy way. Maybe a heel turn by Nikki Bella.
Yeah, maybe.
The heel turn. Maybe you have, you know, fucking Alicia Fox and her number one fan Cameron and Rosa Mendez come out of ringside, you know, to back up Stephanie and shit, be like lumberjills. You would, again, it could happen, you know, but I do see Stephanie going over in this way, and in this match, maybe with a Nikki Bella heel turn.
I can see that also as a possibility. Also, for you guys that are watching this live, you can ask questions. You can tweet me. You can tweet Steven. You can tweet Okayfabe for any of your questions that you want answered after we're done predicting the show. Also, in the comment section down below, you can comment your questions, anything related to SummerSlam 2014 and onwards. So no questions. Yes. You can ask about Kevin Steen being signed, Prince Devitt being signed, even though I'm going to be doing videos on that tomorrow, talking about what characters they should be in the WWE and how I can envision their... Let's get to Okayfabe. What do you think about Stephanie versus Brie Bella?
It's a dub. Like I said before, love-hate kind of deal. The build's fantastic. I feel like the build's been natural, organic. It's well written. It's not overdone, except for maybe the last week. But it's been a decent, great build. My always concern is the payoff. This all has to build towards something. So how's it going to be between Stephanie and Brie? I could be completely wrong. It could be a fantastic, actually decent wrestling match, but I'm obviously a little fearful for both participants because one's not been in a match in 11 years? 11 years, if I'm not mistaken. And the other is, well, Brie Bella. We'll see how that goes.
Actually, it would be 10 years since. Yeah, no, that's 11. The last match was the I Quit match with Vince, which was stupid as hell.
But that's just my overall concern. I think that they put a decent amount of effort into this, and they're kind of piggybacking off the Daniel Bryan story, which is kind of nice, but at the same time, I don't think it's really necessary. But the build, phenomenal. The match, we'll see. But I honestly think Brie's going to get the victory on this one because as much as I'd like to see Stephanie win, it would make sense to have Stephanie go after Brie for humiliating her at SummerSlam, and then having a rematch at Night of Champions. That's when I see Nikki turning.
Yeah, you know, for me personally, I would have it where you have Brie win this match. Like, I definitely see what Steven said. Like, oh, you have all those bad divas, and then you feature all the other divas. Like, oh, here comes Naomi. Here comes Nikki Bella. Oh, the rest of the Total Divas, Natalya. They're out there to help Brie. Yes. Oh, my God, yes. And then, like, I see Brie Bella winning this match, making Stephanie tap out. And then, in all honesty, I feel like you could save the Nikki heel turn later down the road in the year because, like, I don't feel like you need to turn Nikki heel right now at SummerSlam. This is a moment that you could do it at a Survivor Series. Say, like, if you have, like, Paige or AJ as Divas champ at Survivor Series, and you have Brie go for it, and then all of a sudden you have Nikki turn heel during that match, costing Brie the Divas title, and it's just Nikki saying, I've been jealous of Brie. Look at all the success Brie is getting. Brie's getting all the questions during the interviews. People are talking about Brie and Brian more than John and I. It's like, that could set up a natural progression if you do it months and months in advance. I mean, I just feel like it would be stupid for Nikki Bella to be like, LOL, I'm turning heel on you because you didn't have my back. You know, I just think it would be stupid to have Nikki Bella turn heel at SummerSlam. I think it would make no sense. You could save that heel turn down the line and, you know, build up maybe for next year in 2015 for a WrestleMania match between the Bellas, because I know a lot of the IWC is like, ew, that sounds disgusting, but in all honesty, I've been one of the few people that say hey, I want to see a Bella versus Bella match. There's some interest there. John Cena versus Daniel Bryan. You can get their real lives involved with it. I'm actually a fan of Total Divas, so you know what? I don't care. I think it would actually be a good matchup. The Bellas have improved in the ring, and I think they could actually put on a solid 5-minute match for you. Not a match that will blow you the fuck away, but a nice, solid 5-minute job match that can get the job done and get to the fucking point. So, in all honesty, I just see Brie winning here. I definitely see a lot of shenanigans being involved in this match, but I see Brie winning via submission with the yes lock. That's how I see it going down.
Yeah, I could definitely see that. My only thing about the Nikki turning heel, as much as I'd love to kind of stretch it out as long as possible, knowing WWE, they want to piggyback one hot angle to another hot angle. So I wouldn't be surprised at the fact that, like, okay, they milk Brie versus Stephanie as much as they can. Now let's, Nikki, let's connect with that. Okay, let's milk that next. And then they just go from there.
Yeah, I could also see that as well. Alrighty, then it's finally time to talk about the WWE Heavyweight Championship match of the world. The biggest fight of the summer, as we have 15-time world champion John Cena take on former NCAA, UFC, and WWE champion Brock Lesnar. And the biggest fight of the summer. Yes, with Paul Heyman, of course. I've given my thoughts on this matchup. Okayfabe, what are your thoughts on Lesnar versus Cena?
I hate to be repetitive. This is a double. This is tricky because I was thinking about this actually before I came on here, and most people think and assume and know that Lesnar's going to win. But the more I think about it, I would not be surprised if WWE attempted to do some sort of swerve where, and I know we've talked about controversial finishes in like at least half the card. But I was thinking about something along the lines of Lesnar beating the crap out of Cena to the point where the ref throws out the match, and then that's when you have Seth Rollins cash in. Because the one thing I've been picking up lately on their hype of the match is as much as Lesnar wants the title, they've been hyping up the fact that he wants to beat up Cena more. And I think that's probably going to be something they interject and interuse during this whole thing. If they have Lesnar win the belt, it's kind of I feel like they've kind of creatively written him into a corner where it's really kind of like, well, something crappy is going to happen. Either he's going to lose to Cena, which, like Steven said, everyone's going to be like, but or he's going to win the championship, not defend it as frequently if he does keep it long term, or lose it at Night of Champions very quickly. And it just kind of like something along the lines of this is going to go and meh and just make us scratch our heads as fans. Don't get me wrong, the fight itself, I think it's going to be a brutal beatdown just like we saw at Extreme Rules, which I cannot wait to see. But I'm just worried and confused and kind of intrigued in a way at the future implications given Brock's schedule.
All right. Steven, what about you?
Okay, here's my thing. Do you think that when Brock takes down Cena and starts punching him, do you think he's imagining himself that he's doing that to Cain Velasquez or Alistar Overeem?
No.
He's probably thinking, take that out, take that Reem, take that King. But in all seriousness, we all know what's gonna happen. Okay, Brock is gonna take the title. All right, that's the vibe. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And based on the fact that he conquered the streak, right? So you would assume that because of this, he's going to become champion. Now, a part of me wants to see Cena win because I want to see the IWC, even the YWC, complain and bicker and moan about a result. And they're going to be the same people to say, oh, I am done with WWE, but they'll tune in to watch Raw tomorrow or the following Monday.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
That's just the bottom line. No matter how much wrestling pisses you off, you end up watching it at the end of the day. Like WWE can do whatever the fuck they want. They have that power and that ability. There's no WCW. TNA is not a viable option. Ring of Honor is not a viable option. They can do whatever the fuck they want and piss you off because at the end of the day, they're still the #1 wrestling organization in the world, and there's nothing going to change that. And really, to be honest here, I've never been a Brock Lesnar fan. I like Brock Lesnar in the UFC because he likes talking about riding his wife like a horse or Harley Davidson. Like, not Bud Light because they ain't paying me shit. And I like how he spins around like a helicopter when getting punched by Cain Velasquez. So I like that Brock Lesnar.
With that fucking phone that came out when he was mad, like, all the spit that came out of his mouth.
Yeah, exactly. So, like, in all honesty, I've always liked Cena to some extent. Not anymore have I been a big Cena fan or supporter, but in the past I've always liked, the John Cena. I've never had a problem with him whatsoever. And I almost want Cena to win here, and here is the reason why. Because I've had so many motherfuckers defend the WWE for giving John Cena this 15th title. And I said, this ain't going to do anything good for the business. This is not a smart decision to give Cena 15 titles. It's dumb. Like, Cena doesn't need to hold the belt again for another 2 years. And everyone's defending this like, oh, it's okay, though, because he's going to do the job to Brock Lesnar. I want Cena to win just so that way those fans can just be like, wow, I really said that. I felt so dumb saying that Cena was going to lose at Brock Lesnar at SummerSlam. Like, in all honesty, I want fans to understand, sometimes the WWE, they can do stupid shit. I'm tired of WWE apologists is what I'm saying. Is like, I understand if you love wrestling, you love WWE and all that. That's cool for you. But I'm sick and tired of the same guys coming on here, and just saying like, oh, just accept the fact what WWE's doing. No, I'm not going to accept the fact what they're doing. If I think something's garbage, I'm going to come on here and say it's garbage. If you like it, that's cool for you, but I'm just sick and tired of this company getting excuse after excuse after excuse. This company shouldn't be getting excuses. This company should be a great fucking company right now. This is one of the best companies in wrestling history. And you're telling me you can't create new stars. You're telling me you can't do something different and fresh for a change. You're afraid to do this because you feel like a guy's not ready. Like, in all honesty, I want Cena to win. More or less, like, not to see the IWC pissed off, but more in fact to prove the point that the WWE is stupid and they will do stupid things like that to piss you off. At the end of the day, y'all will still be watching. Y'all will still be subscribed to the network. Y'all will still be fans of the WWE no matter what the fuck they do. That's why.
And you still make videos on YouTube giving your thoughts and reviews and all that fun stuff.
Like, don't get me wrong. Like, if Cena wins, I'll say it's a stupid move by the company, but I'll still be making videos because I enjoy making videos. I enjoy doing the YouTube videos. That's one of my hobbies that I like to do outside of my life is to make YouTube videos. The WWE can do anything to piss me off. It doesn't matter. I'll still be here making videos. The day where I stop making videos is the day where I just absolutely can't stand wrestling anymore. I can't watch it. It's not fun for me to watch. Like, I still enjoy the WWE. People think, like, I just hate wrestling. Overall, no, I don't hate wrestling. I still like wrestling. I just wish wrestling was better. That's the thing. I wish that the WWE was more entertaining like I know it can be. I know this company can do so much better with what they have on the rosters in a year-in, year-out basis. But, I just feel right now WWE, it's not good. That's just my opinion on it all. So, I'm predicting Cena to win. Yeah, I'm going to predict Cena to win. Even though everyone's predicting Brock, I'm predicting Cena. And it's not just to prove my statement or point, but I really do feel like they're going to have Cena win this match to set up the return match at Night of Champions where ultimately Brock Lesnar gets the belt.
But again, I do sense it being also a great fight. I sense it being a great fight.
Oh, yeah, the match is good. I have no doubt that the match will be a great watch. Like, I think that this will definitely be kind of like their Extreme Rules match, if not a little bit better.
It needs blood. It needs blood. It's the only match where there needs to be blood. Now, and I can live with that. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if Cena does the Kimura.
Yeah.
Terribly as it may look, but hey,
I'm just saying, like, this match, it'll definitely deliver. I think this match will definitely have, that big fight feel. They've been doing a good job. If you watch their prelude to SummerSlam, that little video they did recently with on the WWE Network, like, that was 30 minutes long. That was good shit. So, they're doing a good job building up to this. It's just that, for me, I don't see this as a good long-term investment into the WWE. Like, nothing new is coming out of this. I mean, like, if you were to tell me in 2002, Chase, what do you think the main event for SummerSlam 2014 will be? I wouldn't say Brock Lesnar and John Cena. I would say, like, I don't know, maybe they will have, like, two young guys like that are the next Rock and Austin going at it then. But now, here we are in 2014, and Cena and Brock Lesnar are going at it. I mean, that's the thing. Like, you look at this company, and it just feels like nothing ever changes with it. It's always the same dudes on top. It never feels like there's a new breath of fresh air moving forward with this company. And that's why I don't feel like this is a good match long term.
I think John Cena is going to be developing or transitioning into a part-time role.
Yes.
With him doing all these movies, Rusev. I think that's a good thing also. That's a good thing.
Yes, it is.
You know, and if you got a question here, we actually have a question by JT, and he asked, do you YouTube casters hate constructive criticism?
No, not really. I prefer when more people give me constructive criticism on my videos, you know, if anything. Like, I like, you know, I like it when people say great job on the review, but if someone says that, like, Chase, I didn't really like how you do this in your reviews or that, it's cool. I'm okay with it. I'll try to change it up. Like, I've taken some people's advice. Like, one thing that I have a bad habit of is, like, you know, in the Q&As is, like, sometimes I turn my head because I feel like I'm talking to someone next to me, or because there's something interesting going outside of my window. And so I've taken some YouTubers' advices, or some people's advices that they said, why do you turn your head a lot in your videos? It's kind of distracting. So I try to limit that as much as possible. But I like constructive criticism. It's good stuff.
Same thing here. I mean, I think one of the I think I did a show for TRN. It was last week, whatever. And one of the guys was like, yeah, my advice, if you can, you know, just try to, you know, not have a glare on your glasses. I mean, without them, I can't see shit anyway. But again, you know, constructive criticism, it makes you better. It makes you a better content creator because you're able to listen to feedback at the end of the day. You know what I mean? So that's my thoughts on that. Now, it's up to you if you're able to handle it, that constructive criticism, in a mature, professional manner.
I actually have a funny, real quick story about that. I'm big on it. I'm huge on constructive criticism. It's one thing if someone goes on one of my videos and dislikes it. It's another if somebody goes on there and says you suck. And actually, when I had my channel originally, there was this guy who blatantly came out and said, you're one of the worst YouTubers I have ever seen in my entire life. And I said, well, I'm sorry you didn't like the video. Tell me how to fix it. And we had a conversation on Facebook, and we just went back and forth in terms of, like, you know, maybe you should try this. I said, not a bad idea. And he ended up being one of, like, I still talk to him to this day. And like Steven and you guys were saying, I take at least for me, and you guys too, I want to improve what I do, and I'm sure you guys are the same way, and make it the best that we possibly can. The only way we can do that is if we hear people like, hey, you know, wasn't a big fan of this, or didn't like this, or maybe you should do that. Tiny things add up and can ultimately just make your product better, because that's all we really want. We don't want to come out in videos and make them that suck.
Now, if you're one of these people, if you listen to this live right now, if you're one of these people that critique like crazy, but yet you don't make a video, you're one of these channels that have 0 videos, 0 subscribers, then in some way, shape, or form, your point is invalid. In my opinion.
I take as much advice, but I do agree. Some of the people who don't make videos, when they come on here and they insult me like, "Oh, you're just stupid. I don't know why you make videos." It's like, dog, you don't even make videos. At least I try to make videos. You don't even have the power to come in.
We got the balls to come on camera, show our face.
Actually talk about wrestling. But anyways, guys, we pretty much wrapped up the prediction portion of the thing. We talked about that, and now we're entering the Q&A portion. So if you have any questions reviewing, you know, talking about SummerSlam 2014, latest WWE signings, and onwards past SummerSlam 2014, those are the questions we will be answering just to keep it relevant, because we don't need random questions like, what did you think of, like, freaking Spanky Brian Kendrick in 2003? That's just not needed. Let's keep it relevant with the times that we're talking about here. So
within this century, yeah.
Here's a question. How was the Orton Reigns match out of nowhere? They have been feuding a good few months now. By Lee Kelly.
Well, I would say it is kind of out of left field, because, you know, it wasn't like, you know, when they were doing this Evolution feud, it was like, oh, Orton and Reigns is the matchup that's going to come out of it. No, everyone expected Triple H and Reigns being the match that comes out of the Evolution versus Shield feud. No one expected Orton versus Reigns. So that's why it's kind of out of left field, and it's kind of like, you know, they just did this match to fill time before they get to the Triple H burial ceremony of Roman Reigns. So in all honesty, and I joke around about that if you guys don't know, I don't really think Triple H will bury Roman Reigns completely, but you can't put it past Triple H. You know, when he's tempted enough, he will do it. But, you know, it's just, you know, Triple H, you know, that was the feud, Triple H and Roman Reigns. No, everyone was chanting, "This is awesome," when Roman Reigns and Triple H were fucking staring down. Roman Reigns and Randy were staring down. Everyone's like,
okay, yeah, all right,
yeah.
It's the fact they weren't the focus.
Yes.
It was either the group or the Fatal 4-Way. It's the fact that they didn't, at least until obviously these last 4 weeks, in my opinion, that they put the actual spotlight on, okay, here's Orton, here's Reigns, this is a thing now. This just them, no one else, just these two guys. That's where it kind of came out of nowhere, especially when, like we were mentioning on earlier, oh, I'm walking down the ring, and then, bah! Okay, all right. I guess that's going on, so.
Yeah, I agree. Here's another one from Gemini S. Who aside from AJ would give Paige a run for her money? I can't think of anyone in the locker room aside from Natalya.
I can think of one, but they'd have to build her the right way, and that's Tamina.
Yeah, Tamina.
They'd have to give her a nice push. They'd have to make her look good and just, I don't want to say redo, but
they tried that before, though. Remember, they tried it.
I know. But I mean, if you're looking for credibility-wise, besides Natalya, that's the only one I can think of.
I think, in all honesty, if you're gonna give someone, it could be anybody in the locker room. You just can't have Vince McMahon and Kevin Dunn be behind, the backstage. You can't. You just can't. You got to bring the people from NXT, the writers from NXT, people and creative from NXT.
Yeah,
or have the Triple H influence.
Yeah, because Triple H likes, I can tell that when it comes down to, the NXT people, Triple H loves those kids with a burning passion, and you can tell he loves Paige a lot. He sees a lot of good things coming from Paige. You can just tell with interactions, that like little subtle interactions that you can see with Triple H and Paige. He definitely loves what Paige brings to the table. As far as divas that can give her a run for her money, I think Emma could definitely give her a run for her money. I think a lot of people don't watch a lot of Emma's NXT stuff. And also, Charlotte Flair, she's been massively improving. So you could arguably say Charlotte Flair could give her some run for her money as well. The Divas division is definitely looking upwards when it comes down to it. So I think there's a lot of divas that can give her a run for her money at the end of the day. I think Paige, the thing is, she just looks more different than most divas that we normally get, because normally we get the blonde or the brunette tan diva, but she's like pale with the dark hair, and so she looks a little bit different, and she does wrestle in a more technical aspect than most divas do, so that's where she gets a little bit more interest from the fans than,
It's in her blood.
A lot of other divas. Yeah, it's in her blood. She's been wrestling.
There's videos on YouTube where she wrestled her mom in the UK.
Yeah, I saw one of those. That was pretty interesting stuff.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So she's been wrestling since she was like 10, I think. Like that's when she started training.
I think fresh out the womb, bro.
Yeah, so out of the womb, fresh out of the womb, throwing the damn ring. Yeah, but I think it's definitely like there's a lot of divas that can definitely give her a run of the money. And also another one that I forgot to mention, I think the most talented and underrated diva on the roster, Naomi. I think Naomi can kill her in the long run. I think Naomi is a future star for the Divas division, and the WWE does not realize it yet, how big they have it with Naomi. When I watch Total Divas and I see how Naomi carries herself, I always say to myself, Naomi is the most likable person on this show. Naomi's the one I want to see succeed at the end of the day. Don't get me wrong. I appreciate what Natalya has done with the Hart family name and everything. But when it comes to Naomi, I just feel like she's a better story. Here's a girl that, just wants to work hard every day. She doesn't want to do this BS fooling around. She's very loyal and committed to her husband. She's someone that you can just get behind and someone that you can root for, because I can relate more to Naomi than I can to any other diva. So, that's one thing where I think Naomi has that capability and that star potential inside of her. So don't count out Naomi. Do not count out Naomi whatsoever when it comes down to it. But yeah, there's a lot of divas that can give Paige a run for her money.
Absolutely. Here's another question now. Here it comes from, who is here? Aisha Abbas. Do you, Randy, will turn against the Authority? I think they're trying to say, do you think Randy will turn against the Authority? It could happen.
Yeah,
It could really
it could happen.
Yeah, especially the way he's been interacting with Kane or Corporate Kane. I think they're kind of like pushing the subtlety a little more. Man, if I have an issue with Reigns, then I have an issue with you. Ooh, he didn't just say that.
Word. Another question. From Lennox Watterson. Does Brock lose the title to Cena at Night of Champions? Here's what I think will happen to. Okay. Who to say, okay, Brock wins the title. Brock wins the title at SummerSlam, right? He's like, you know what? I've done it all now. I'm leaving. And he leaves with the title. And that forces WWE to bring out the new belt with the new logo, right? And they have a tournament, whatever it may be, to crown a new champion. And during the finals of Night of Champions, and out comes Seth to cash in. That could work too.
Yeah. I think if Brock does win, I don't think he's going to lose it at Night of Champions. I think they will do it with the long run and have him go to WrestleMania 31 and lose to Roman Reigns. And that's also what I used to ask. Like, I think Lesnar should keep the title till WrestleMania, let Reigns win the Royal Rumble, and then win the titles. Do you think that's a good idea? It's a good idea on paper, but here's the thing. Brock Lesnar is not the guy that should be passing that fictitious torch. It should be John Cena. John Cena should be the guy giving Roman Reigns the rub at the end of the day. It shouldn't be Brock Lesnar giving the rub to Roman Reigns. It should be John Cena, because John Cena is the guy. That's the thing I have to say about that. On paper, yes, it does sound like a great idea. It does make a lot of sense. But in the long run, I think it's more beneficial if you have it where Roman Reigns beats the man, John Cena. That's just my opinion on it.
Now, I did read reports also. Apparently, Bryan is scheduled to return by Royal Rumble 2015. Now, I'm not saying they're going to have him, win the Rumble now or imply that, which they might. Who to say, hey, they have everyone face Lesnar and everyone fails and the Authority has no choice but to, hey, bring in Bryan.
Honestly, I think I would use Daniel Bryan's star power to help out Seth Rollins. I don't think he would need to go for the title. I think his star power could be used to help out Seth Rollins.
Yeah,
if that was the case. Get Seth Rollins over. Get Seth Rollins over. I mean, in all honesty, you guys talk about WrestleMania matches. I think a lot of you guys would love to see Bryan Danielson versus Tyler Black in like a 20-minute match. I think that would be a good WrestleMania match.
No. What the Smarks want to see, they want to see Daniel Bryan, Bryan Danielson versus, Phil Brooks, the guy that took the sabbatical.
Yeah, okay.
WrestleMania 31, 60-minute Iron Man match for the world title. That's their main event. That's what they really are praying for. But
wait, Phil Brooks, the guy who took a 7-month bathroom break?
Yeah, the sabbatical. The guy that quit, the quitter, the BQITW, the best quitter in the world. Ouch.
Yeah.
That hurts. But again, it could happen. You just never know.
I wouldn't mind seeing Lesnar hold a belt, because for one pure reason, in terms of long-term Mania, because it would force WWE to put something different in the main event spotlight.
Yes, that is true. That is true.
That's the main reason why I would be a big fan of Lesnar having the belt, even sporadically not being around, because that just opens up the creative processes of like putting a actual rivalry feud as the main spotlight as opposed to the championship, which they've done before. Brock Cena, Rock Cena, other things that were bigger than the title. And plus, it kind of gives a little bit like an old school taste of, oh wait, the champion's showing up. Now it's a big effing deal.
Yeah, exactly.
I think also too, I think with Brock, Brock's character is more of an MMA fighter too, with the glove, the shorts, and all that. So you think about too, MMA fighters, they don't fight every week. They fight like 3 times a year, 4 times a year. It depends who you are. They could implement that too. Okay, you're a fighter. You only fight certain dates. In this case, he only fights the big events. The Survivor Series, the Rumbles, the Mania, the SummerSlams. You know what I mean? That could work also.
Yeah, I totally agree with you guys.
I'm sorry.
On that. No, I totally agree with you guys on that. I'll continue on, man. I was just saying I agree.
The only thing, I was just going to piggyback off what Steven said, and that would make the Big Four even bigger, and that's definitely what they need lately.
and also you have Paul Heyman being that mouthpiece. So who to say? You can even have Paul or Heyman, Paul Heyman, be on every episode of Raw representing his client, the conqueror of the WWE.
Paul Heyman could sell ice to an Eskimo. Put it that way.
All right, then. King Chaos 97 asks, do you feel that the Shield was broken up prematurely? They kind of had to force to break them up because when you beat Evolution, one of the greatest factions in WWE history, 2 pay-per-views in a row, what else is next for the fucking Shield? They forced the hand with that one, but I do feel like it was too early to break up the Shield because I definitely thought you could have gotten more miles out of the Shield and Evolution feud. I mean, instead of trying to force Roman Reigns to have a big match with Triple H at, let's say, Night of Champions, you could have had that Roman Reigns and Triple H match at WrestleMania 31. I'm just saying, like, that feud had the possibility of going a year plus. The Evolution versus Shield, make no bones about it, had the possibility of going a year plus because, everyone's like, well, Batista, he had to go do Guardians. So what? Batista had to go do Guardians. You could have always added a new member to Evolution and say, like, because let's face it, Triple H now, he would be like the Ric Flair role. Randy Orton would be the Triple H. Batista would still be Batista. And then, you bring in Sheamus or, who knows, maybe bring in more diversity. Maybe add a female to Evolution, like a Paige or something like that. Add more to Evolution or make another Evolution, like an Evolution B Squad type of deal, where you have like Sheamus, Wade Barrett, Miz, and Ziggler or something, that type of deal. You could have done a lot more with Evolution and Shield, in my personal opinion. So, yeah, definitely they broke up kind of prematurely, but they had to. What else was the Shield going to do? They beat the 3 top heels back-to-back on 2 pay-per-views. What would they do? They would have to go for the fucking titles. Those 3 members would have to go for the damn titles if they were going to beat your 3 top heels. That's all I got to say. So, yes, they did kind of break up the Shield prematurely, but they had to. They had no other option.
Yeah, I kind of wish they stretched them out just a little longer. Like, at least to, like, now. That'd be fine by me. I think they could have gotten a little bit more, but, they've been around for, at that point, it had been over,
18 months.
Yeah, that sounds about right. So, I mean, that's, for a faction as over as they were, that's a good chunk of time. So, I think I personally would have loved to see him right around now starting to fizzle out and then pull the trigger then. But with Money in the Bank and other things involved, like you said, Chase, they kind of forced their hand on that one. But I personally would have loved to see it a little bit longer.
They could have done also, parted ways, but still kept that brotherhood in a way.
Yeah, exactly. They could have been like Seth goes to Dean and Roman, like, look, guys, I gotta deal with my business with Randy. Randy's really pissing me off. I'm still your brother. I'm still part of the Shield, but I gotta do things my own way. And Dean Ambrose can be like, you know what, Roman, I love you too, bro, but I gotta do things my way too. And then Roman's like, you know what, I gotta do things my way too. And then you could just separate them, have them feud with the individual Evolution members in the meantime.
Or have this segment on the show where the close the show, they do this for like one last time, and then bam, close the show.
Yeah.
And if they were gonna pull one of them heel, I personally would have done Ambrose as the heel, but.
The thing with that is it would have been predictable. Like, yeah, we know, okay, there was a swerve with Rollins, a swerve. Like, okay, you didn't see it coming, but there it is.
And also the thing with Ambrose, the thing is turning him heel wouldn't work because the fans would still cheer him. He cuts killer promos. Nowadays in wrestling, it's like this. If you can talk and you're entertaining, the fans will fucking love you. Look at perfect example. My friend said to me, this would be the perfect feud, Chase. Daniel Bryan versus Hollywood Rock. And I said, why would that be a good feud? Think about it. People don't like The Rock because he's a part-timer, and then you have Daniel Bryan. He's more over. And I'm going to say this. You get Hollywood Rock out there, Daniel Bryan will be more booed than Hollywood Rock, no questions asked, because Hollywood Rock was fucking entertaining. Yay, Toronto! That's where we live! We're from Toronto! Ah, shut up! That was the good fucking Rock. Strong as a buck, the only thing good in Canada because the Maple Leafs suck. Like, that's good shit from The Rock. That's entertaining. That's the thing with
or the Sacramento Queens. I remember that.
Yes, the Sacramento. Like Rock would get more cheered than Daniel Bryan because you have Hollywood Rock come back. People are gonna be like, man, this guy's more entertaining than the dude that's just doing this. Like I may appreciate what Daniel Bryan does in the ring, but boy, that Rock guy, he's entertaining me. And that's the thing. You're gonna have Seth Rollins, Jeff Hardy mic skills, and let's face it, he has Jeff Hardy mic skills. All right. I don't care how many of you guys love Seth Rollins. That dude is Jeff Hardy 2.0 written all over him. That dude can't cut a damn promo to save his life without sounding too Midwestern and kind of too whiny at times. And if you had Dean Ambrose be the heel, people are going to be like, I like this guy more than Seth Rollins. So Seth Rollins was perfect to turn heel in this situation because turning Dean heel, people would just cheer him at the end of the day. That's just the bottom line. If you can cut a promo, the fans like you a lot more, especially entertaining promos. So Dean works perfect as a face, in my opinion. Down the line, if Dean gets the right opponent, like a Bray Wyatt or someone else, yeah, he could play a great heel.
Here's a question. Do you think Stephanie McMahon should go after the Divas title? No. If you want attraction, you want to bring some viewership to the title. I mean, Stephanie, in a way, is a draw. People tune in to see her. So I think because of that emphasis, yeah, why not, right? But I don't think it'll last that long. It'll probably be like a month thing.
Yeah, I if anything, it's just to build a big WrestleMania match, and that's it. So, yeah, I don't see any interest in that. It's just to build a WrestleMania match, and I don't think it would be good because you'll just be building that one Mania match for that one woman, and the other divas will just kind of get thrown underneath the rug during all that.
Yeah, I agree. Boy, this Aisha Abbas on a roll. Here's another one. Here's another one. What are your thoughts on WWE considering bringing up Charlotte, the Ascension, Kalisto to the main roster? It could work.
It could work.
Honestly, though, who I see coming up now, a group of people coming up right now, is obviously, Sami Zayn, Adrian Neville. Tyler Breeze could wait a little bit. I will bring in Enzo Amore.
Ascension?
The Ascension, obviously, yeah. They'll be ascending to the main roster real soon, no pun intended.
Think Charlotte's coming up?
I think she is. I think, if anything, that the Superstars coming up. NXT TakeOver 2. Look a way for originality, WWE. TakeOver 2. You could have called it NXT,
Orbit. Why not call it Orbit? Adrian Neville's your champion. It makes sense. You're breaking
NXT, Evolution or NXT Evolve. I don't know, some shit like that, right? But
yeah.
I think I did read, apparently they're going to have eventually Bayley beat Charlotte for the title, and then have Charlotte just go up to the main roster after that.
Yeah, like, my thoughts on if you bring Charlotte to the main roster, I guess that could be a good side feud, because let's say if Paige is not Divas champion at that time, that could be a good side feud to introduce Charlotte, and, Charlotte and Paige definitely have some interest. As long as they don't bring her in, hoping that just because she's Ric Flair's daughter, she will get over to the main roster, she'll do fine. The Ascension, I've been saying it on my channel for months now, and people still don't want to believe it, but I've been saying they've been building up the Usos to be a dominant tag team just to ultimately lose the belts to the Ascension. Everyone's like, no, Trish, they wouldn't do that. Oh, yeah, because they have not done that in the past with Umaga, AJ Lee. AJ Lee's the perfect example. We just saw that this year with AJ Lee. AJ Lee was the most dominant Divas champion. All of a sudden, here comes good old happy-go-lucky 21-year-old Paige and beats her ass on the first night she debuts. So don't tell me that WWE... Don't tell me that the WWE wouldn't give the Ascension the belts right away. I've been saying it for months on my channel, and I'll still stand by that. They're building up the Usos to be a dominant tag team just to drop the belts to the Ascension. And Kalisto, in all honesty, this is just I like Kalisto, don't get me wrong. But this is a hot shot, knee-jerk reaction because, let's face it, they're coming back to Mexico City soon. Their best Mexican superstar has no left knees left in his body, and he doesn't want to be there. The other Mexican superstar slapped a social media worker and is gone from the company, and the other Mexican superstar that they have is one of the biggest busts in WWE history. It doesn't matter who's wearing that fucking mask. That character is a bust. And so they're hot-shotting Kalisto up to the main roster because, let's face it, lucha wrestlers, they're fun to watch. They're different to watch. They're always smaller than most guys. You're going to get flashy moves out of them. Definitely crowd pleasers. A lot of people will get behind them and be like, I like that guy. He's smaller than most guys, but he really puts up a good fight. And he can fly around in the ring, and he can sell masks. So Kalisto is a knee-jerk, hotshot reaction just because the WWE says, shit, we're coming to Mexico soon, and we have no motherfucking Hispanics on the roster to promote that Mexico feud. I mean, they ruined Epico by making him Fernando. They ruined Primo by making him Diego. And they ruined fucking Hunico by making him Sin Cara 2.0. And
I heard, I heard Little Jimmy is part Mexican.
Little Jimmy, I guess, is part Mexican. Who knew? But
I'll say
yes,
this.
Callisto's a knee-jerk reaction, in all honesty. I like Callisto, don't get me wrong. I think he has wonderful talent, but he's just a knee-jerk reaction to get, the interest in Mexico City, because WWE rarely goes to Mexico City, so that's why.
I'll say this too, and you may find this hard to believe. They always say, oh, whenever someone from the Indies signs to WWE, oh, they're gonna get watered down on NXT. What a shame. But reality is, if you're someone that watches NXT, you would know that in NXT they let you go balls to the wall. They let you go. They let you do what you want almost in a match. Where they really water you down when you come out to the main roster. This is why in some way, shape, or form, sometimes I really wish that Sami Zayn, Adrian Neville, Tyler Breeze, Enzo Amore, all these guys that are currently in NXT don't even come up to the main roster because they're going to end up getting watered down.
I've heard you say that multiple times, and I could definitely see why you say that. I totally agree.
And also, the thing is, like, these guys on NXT, they will build up a good character on there, and then the WWE won't bring that character onto the main roster. And perfect example is Big E Langston. That 5-count gimmick, that shit was genius that Big E thought of. That was good shit. And then they kind of bring him up as just a generic bodyguard, and now he's just some guy with some hip-hop rap music. And that's
Al Sharpton with steroids. Just Al Sharpton on steroids, pretty much.
Yeah, exactly. Like, that's a perfect example of a gimmick, because, and Paige is another example of a person where they brought up and she didn't really necessarily keep her gimmick for what she was doing on NXT. And then there's another, Emma kind of kept her gimmick, but not really the same. The Wyatts kind of kept her gimmick, but not really the same effect. The Shield is really the only guys that they brought up right away, and they kind of kept their gimmicks. In all honesty, that's kind of how they did it. But the Shield was never really that big of a thing in NXT. They were more of a main roster type of deal, and then they just kind of forced their way onto NXT TV. So, that's just what happens. Sometimes they build up these guys' characters and gimmicks on NXT, and they just don't transition onto TV because the writers don't know what the fuck they're doing, and that's just pretty much it. But yeah, so there's perfect examples where, some of these characters might not do well on main TV, and it's mainly because WWE messes them up. But it's hard to, really write for a 3-hour show sometimes. All right, someone asked about Cena and Hogan having a match. What are your thoughts on that? I don't care about it in 2014. This was 2009. Yeah, I'd kind of be excited, but 2014, no, man.
More like 07. More like 07, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
don't think there's any interest.
If it happens, it'll probably be like a 10-minute thing. They'll be lucky if they get 15 out of Hogan.
I think it will happen. Sad to say.
Just be headlocks and punches, pretty much. No bumps. Just imagine Hogan with 8 multiple surgeries.
Hogan's not going to leave his feet.
Attempting to do a leg drop. I would cringe. Like, oh.
He would explode into dust.
Yeah, I don't think Hogan and Cena is really the match you want to see. I mean, Hogan and Sting at Bound for Glory can tell you how bad Hogan is in the ring. Now, he can still control the crowd like no other man can, but yeah, that wasn't a really pretty match between Hogan and Sting. It looked
that
really,
was a good
really
match,
bad.
actually, man. What, Hogan? That was a good match, man. What are you talking about, man? I'm kidding.
I liked it for what it was. I'm
I'm just about to unsubscribe to you, Steven. I'm like, whoa.
That was a great match. That tore the house down, man. Better than Bobby Roode and Angle, man.
Oh, God. Don't remind me of that match. We got a couple of Dean Ambrose questions. Aisha asked, where does Dean go if he wins the match at SummerSlam? And we pretty much all agreed that he would probably be facing Seth again. But if you want to do a different feud with Dean Ambrose, Batista. I think Batista and Dean would do well, and Batista loves Dean Ambrose. He feels Dean Ambrose is the future of the company, so it would work well. So that's what I would say.
I wouldn't mind a Dean Miz feud.
Yeah, that would work too.
Or I wouldn't mind a Dean versus Bray Wyatt feud.
Yeah. So those are those where we would think that they would do. And Chris Phoenix asked about Dean Ambrose. Can you see Ambrose and Rollins facing each other up in a Hell in a Cell match, an actual Hell in a Cell match, or will that make too much sense for the WWE? See, that could actually work in the Hell in a Cell, but my question is, how are you going to book that feud all the way to Hell in a Cell? That's the more important question, because WWE, if they like a feud enough, they will have the ability to book it for 3 to 6 months. But if they don't feel like the feud is all that great, and especially in the ratings department, they could just, say, fuck it, we're going to drop this feud and no longer continue it. So it's up to the point where if the WWE can book it long enough to get Hell in a Cell, but I think they would book this match inside the Hell in a Cell, because if you look at Hell in a Cell pay-per-view, it would probably be whatever John Cena's going to be in a cell, and then also you have Triple H and Reigns going to be inside of a cell, so why not Ambrose and Rollins in a cell? Give us 3 cell matches. That actually makes sense.
I actually think of a great way that they could do this, and this is just what I would do, is you take Ambrose off of TV for several weeks and essentially have him make his return attack on Rollins during Night of Champions. Then you use that time after Night of Champions, Raw after, boom, and you just book it straight through to Hell in the Cell.
Yeah, that could actually work. That could actually work very well.
Here's a question.
Guys.
Here's actually one from Aisha as well. You think he's on a roll? He's on a fucking roll.
Or she?
Or he or she? I don't know. Again, no picture on the damn thing again. But thing is, though, do you think WWE dropped the ball with the new nation?
Oh God, yes.
Big time.
Yes, huge. They had a fucking good thing with that. Like, oh my fucking God, this just shows what I'm talking about sometimes, stupid stuff that WWE would do. I mean, you have this genius idea, why not? New Nation, makes sense, it could be an interesting faction, and you just drop it. What is Xavier Woods going to be doing now? What? Doing some shit with CJ Parker on NXT that I could get 2 shits about? Oh, Kofi's back to being the Wildcat? Oh, Big E Langston's back to being just some random big guy that sometimes supports America and then sometimes loves Jesus? They're not doing anything with these guys, so why not? Like, shit. Yeah, this company sometimes.
Here's a question from Jamie Menser. Do you miss ECW? Should they bring it back?
No.
You want to see ECW once again? Go watch TNA.
Go watch TNA. If you miss ECW, go watch TNA. That's all I gotta say about it.
I feel like ECW is been buried in the pet cemetery.
It go back to what Dreamer said in the Heyman DVD. It's like, watching, another man raise your child in their own way. It's pretty much what it is. And
that was a great analogy. Perfect.
Yeah, no, it's like ECW. I think some wrestling fans just can't let it go. Just like, I always said that someone asked a question a long time ago in my Q&A about the Attitude Era, and I always said the Attitude Era is like that one hot girlfriend that you had. You had a great time with that girlfriend. It was actually a long relationship, but something down the road happened, and y'all had to break up for whatever reason. And you keep missing that girlfriend. You get new girlfriends, like you keep getting new girlfriends, but you still miss the girlfriend that you had the most fun with. You still think about that girl, even with your new girlfriends. And that's what the Ruthless Aggression Era was. Ruthless Aggression Era, that's a new girlfriend, but she wasn't the Attitude Era girlfriend. Then you get to the PG Era, she's definitely not the Attitude Era girlfriend. So when it comes down to it, ECW, some fans just need to let it go. Some fans today's day and age, guys, I'm going to say it, they can't handle ECW. Today's world is full of pussified crap. Because if Lana's getting in trouble for just saying Vladimir Putin, holy fucking shit, dude. And the WWE has to apologize for that, that's where this world is full with pussies. Oh, she can't say Vladimir Putin. How dare this character on TV say Vladimir Putin? Yet we can have characters on TV make meth and all that other crap. Because Lana's not a TV character. She's actually a real person. It's like...
They kind of did the same thing with Punk when they were making, when they were poking at Bear. That was going too far. But at the same time...
I'll give you another example, too. Was it Katie Vick when Triple H, had his way, in the casket,
Yeah. I very vividly remember that. I don't want to.
Or Chuck and Billy and Chuck when they were the gay gimmick.
I thought that shit was funny. I really did.
At the time, but oh no, we can't see that. 2 guys, penis on penis, no on TV, no. HLA, taco shell on taco show, no, not on TV, no. You know what I mean? Or was it Big Boss Man and Big Show back in '99?
When he dragged his dad's casket. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Absolutely, yeah. Pushing the envelope. There's a meme actually on Facebook. I think it was Stone Cold on top of the beer truck saying, "You guys bitch and complain about wanting the Attitude Era back, but you motherfuckers can't handle a fucking Lano promo." That was
I think
funny
I could
as hell.
see that. I love that. It was funny as hell.
It's
Oh
funny.
man.
And right now we're seeing Chase's elbow. It's frozen there.
Yep. Just look at that massive muscle. Ugh.
Yeah, he goes in the gym 5 hours. He hits the bag, and hey.
Well, I mean, at least his arms worked out. I mean, there's different ways to work out your arm, but
That too. I mean, hey, it happens at this time. Exactly. Is there any glare in my glasses? Asks. I saw a guy was complaining about a glare from some network. I'm not gonna,
From some network, unbeknownst.
Yeah. And what the hell? What the sandbag? What the sandbag is this? The sand?
Is he coming back?
I'm worried now. Where's Chase? Hashtag where's Chase? Oh, I know what he's doing. He's probably bringing out Chase Bolivar. Who knows?
Who knows? Did he say if he was going anywhere? We've taken over his channel. This is like the third channel we've taken over, I think.
Maybe we should bring out the WB. No, you gotta stay there. You're not going anywhere. No.
Don't mind me. I'm just being a pirate, but that's none of my business.
None of my business.
We got any other questions?
Well, let's see here. Well, we can take God's question from him.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see here.
Alrighty then.
He lives.
What are your thoughts on WWE? Okay, we got that already. Okay,
I am back. Internet cut out. Thank you, Steven and Okayfabe, for holding the fort for my shitty internet cutting out at the random time.
Oh, we just basically bashed you the entire time.
Oh no.
Go back and watch
no. All right, I will. You can watch this via the archives, by the way. We'll take a couple more questions.
Okay, here's one.
To end this one off.
Thoughts on current Raw commentary?
Oh, it's really, really garbage. Because, like, in all honesty, they don't even talk about the matches anymore. They just kind of, like, go out there, promote the network, talk about other stuff that are not going on in the matches, stuff that are not really important to what's going inside of the ring. Like, they only comment on one or two moves. It's like, oh, look at that Enziguri. Oh, look at that move. Look at this move. It's just like they don't really do a good job telling the story anymore. Like, they don't tell the story that's going on in the match. They just expect you, like, oh, here's a match out here. Enjoy it. And it's just like, look, man, I can't enjoy a match if y'all ain't talking about what's going on in the match. Like, y'all are not giving me a reason why I should buy into this RVD and Seth Rollins match. Y'all are just talking about other stuff besides this match.
Gordon Soley will be rolling in his grave right now if you would have saw the Raw commentary right now.
Oh, yeah.
And unfortunately, you've got not one, but two past commentary teams to live up to. Gorilla and Bobby, and then JR and King. So it's
Gordon Soley. And Gordon Soley.
Well, I'm talking WWF strictly, but yes, Gordon Soley.
Wrestling in general, wrestling as a whole.
It's you're not going to be able to live up to it. And God bless them, they're trying their best to stay because you got Cole, who's the strict play-by-play. You've got Jerry, who kind of dabbles back and forth, and you got JBL, who's just there to crack jokes every week.
Yeah.
But I mean, they're trying to do it, but at the same time, like you guys are saying, and I totally agree. They're not focusing on moves. They're more focusing on storytelling. Hell, half the time they're not even focusing on the story that's going on right in front of them.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's not that great. But then again, when you're comparing it to other previous amazing commentary we've had in the past, it's kind of hard to stand up to it regardless. But yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's just like. Because we also know Michael Cole and Jerry Lawler can do a lot better. We know Jerry Lawler's a lot better. And Michael Cole, he gets shit on a lot, but, like, I can remember so many SmackDown moments where Michael Cole did a fucking great job. Eddie Guerrero's title win, I think Michael Cole was the best person in that commentary. Taz was just being an idiot half the time.
I don't think Cole's horrible. I mean, I don't think he's the greatest. I don't think he's, like, god-awful. I think he's god-awful when they try to push him as a heel to face him. That was just... Don't get me wrong, the heel thing was hilarious. It's like he's putting over the heels
I think
way too much.
I'm at a point right now where I would rather have, what's this dude's name on NXT? Fucking
Tom Phillips.
Tom Phillip, Byron Saxton, Albert. Do commentary for all. Give them a test drive. Give them a test. Let it, even if it's on SmackDown at first, let them work their way up. You know what I mean? Or, to my understanding, also they're planning to have Renee Young eventually transcend to the Raw commentary team.
Which wouldn't be bad. I think that would actually be good. That would be good for the showing equality that the women can also commentate on the big show. So that's actually good stuff. I mean, you barely hear women commentate in sports, and it'd be a good thing for the WWE to make them feel a little bit different. Like, hey, in an NBA and an NFL game, you always hear these two old dudes talk about the sport. Well, here we have a nice, pretty young lady talking about it, so it can work out at the end of the day. We're going to take 2 or 3 more questions, depending on how much we get from here, and then we'll wrap this up. King of Chaos 97 asks, if the fans today chant, "This is awesome" during a normal Raw match with false finishes, imagine what they would do during an ECW match. The fans would probably pass out. Yeah, wrestling today is so diluted. They think, like, if you kick out of 5 moves, you're all of a sudden, like, this is an awesome match, and this is one of the greatest matches of all time, which is true.
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, even the what chant, I think the what chant is even, like, played out nowadays.
Yeah.
That and the CM Punk.
Punk. Or this one. Or this one. You still got it. You still got it.
Yeah, a dude does a neck breaker in the ring. Oh, that guy still can wrestle. It's like, dude, come on.
Or
Really?
you effed up. You effed up. I mean, I'll give you a perfect example, but I think it doesn't really come into play, or should it come into play. So last week on NXT, we had Bayley and Eva Marie. And say what you want about Eva Marie. Yeah, she cannot wrestle. Yeah, she's
not good. She's
not good. And people were chanting, "You can't wrestle. You fucked up." When the match was over, thank you, Bayley. Thank you, Bayley. And I did read apparently she went backstage and cried. Her eyes up. She just cried. Here's my thing, okay? Yes, she belongs on NXT to improve, to get better. Okay? But if you are going to cry after every match because what the fans are cheering at you, then you don't belong in the business.
Yeah, it's just like you're not going to get the love. Like, do what EC3 does. Like, you can't wrestle. I disagree. You can't wrestle. I'm very good. That shit was genius. But yeah, it's just like you got to have tough skin when you're in the wrestling business. And that's just the bottom line. And it looks like Lennox may be the final Q&A question, unless we get one more in here. He asked.
I see one more also by.
Okay, all right, go on and ask that question.
Okay.
And then Lennox will wrap it up.
I think probably the person that sent the most questions in this live stream, Aisha Abbas.
Oh, she's MVP.
Do you think Cesaro will ever get to a main event spot or still end up where he is now? I personally feel like Cesaro, okay, when he paired up with Heyman, we all thought this is great, amazing.
Oh, no, I thought it was terrible from the first place. I was not one of those guys.
I thought it would have worked. I thought it would with the track record, but unfortunately, the rug was pulled from under him because of the Roman Reigns push.
Yes.
Yeah.
He was actually supposed to face Lesnar this year at SummerSlam. That was the plan. He was supposed to win the Money in the Bank briefcase. I did read reports on that too. And all that is not happening now because they're giving all this to Roman Reigns.
Should we blame Roman Reigns or should we blame Daniel Bryan for the injury? Because if you think about it, Bryan never got injured. Maybe it wasn't such a bad idea to get Batista the belt after all, huh? Huh, wrestling fans?
Blame creative, because I don't want to come up with this plan of attack anyway.
Yeah, but in all honesty, with Cesaro, I think the thing is, it's just the WWE, it's 50-50. It's the WWE not knowing how to create new stars in bunches like they used to back in the day. Because back in the day, the WWE, they could get 6 guys and make them into stars. Look at SmackDown back in 2002. They were building 6 stars, and Eddie Guerrero, Chavo Guerrero, Kurt Angle, Chris Benoit, Rey Mysterio, and Edge. Those were 6 guys that they were building up at the same time. Nowadays, the WWE struggles to build up 2 guys at once. They're just like, oh, what? We have to build up new stars? What the fuck? And also, it's because of the fear that, if these wrestlers are super duper talented in anything else, that they will just leave wrestling to do other ventures. I mean, let's face it. Would you rather get paid, I don't know, barely $1 million a year to, travel 300 days a year, wrestling, or get paid $10 million just for one movie where you sit on your ass You barely do anything, and it's only a 40-day shoot. I think I'm taking the movie route and the more money route at the end of the day. So that's another reason why the WWE doesn't really necessarily like to push their stars, is because they're afraid that, when they leave, if they leave the company, because they've had that before. Or, like I said before, some of these superstars, they do get pushed by WWE. They leave the WWE. They end up doing ventures outside of WWE that's making them more money. That's just the bottom line, So, that's another reason why. But also with Cesaro is, the dude's boring on the microphone. There's nothing interesting about the Cesaro character. Cool, he can swing people around. What else? What else is there about the Cesaro character that I should care about? There really isn't anything to care about for Cesaro. And the thing with Cesaro, and I'm saying this right now, he's the next Randy Orton. Y'all will love Cesaro now. Y'all will fucking praise the shit out of Cesaro. But once he starts getting shoved down your motherfucking throats and he starts winning that 6th, 7th, 8th world title, half of you motherfuckers will turn your back on him in an instant and be like clamoring that Adam Cole or some other dude in NXT should be pushed over him. So that's all I'm saying.
Damn, that hit home, man. Damn, that hurt. That hurt big time.
That's true, though. You don't think that's true?
I know. It's the thing about it. Cesaro being the next Randy Orton. I mean, they got the haircut almost there. I mean,
dude, think about it. Think about it. Talented in the fucking ring, like Randy Orton was back when he was 24 years old. Fucking can put on a great fucking match with almost everyone on the damn roster. And then, he has his go-to moves that the fans pop for. It's just perfect similarities. They can't cut a promo to save their life. They're not the most charismatic guys in the world. People were happy for them and called them the anti-Roman Reigns. Like, I guarantee you, Cesaro and Roman Reigns is going to be the next feud, but I guarantee you, John Cena and Randy Orton will be a 10 times better feud in the future than fucking Roman Reigns or Cesaro, because people will get like sick and tired of seeing Reigns and Cesaro wrestle damn matches. It's just bound to happen, and it's just a
10 years, or 10 years from now, or when Orton and Cena retire, they'll make a return and they'll pop. And right now they're booing for them and shit. But 10 years from now, when Cena comes back for those Raw specials, those 3, special Raw specials and shit, they're gonna pop for Cena. One more match. Here for Orton.
Yeah. So, and then Lennox Lewis is going to end off the questions, and it's about the WWE Network, so it should be in 3. Would a network be a success if they had a working relationship with promotions all over the world? TNA, ROH, AAA, CMLL, New Japan Pro Wrestling, etc. Would it bring more subs? Would you be interested? Let me just put it this way. The thing is, with the WWE, I can see where people say this would work, but here's the problem. It's called WWE having to pay those companies to produce their shows. That's the problem when it comes down to it, because let's just face it, you're going to help produce a New Japan Pro Wrestling show to stream onto the network. Okay, yes, that's a good idea in theory, but how much money is coming out of your bank account for that? And you're only charging $10.99 for people to go. And really, to be honest, if it was still part of, just in the States type of deal, I don't think a lot of States fans are excited to see New Japan Pro Wrestling. Hell, if TNA is still at only 1 million viewers and they've been on the network of Spike TV for almost 10 years and Americans are still not into TNA just because they're on the WWE Network, what would make people involved and invested into, TNA wrestling? The production cost of showing those shows would just be a lot more money, because, see, with NXT, they already have their productions costs covered with Full Sail. They tape NXT like 4 shows in advance, 3 to 4 shows in advance, and when it comes to Main Event Live, they already have the venue rented out for SmackDown, and it's only an hour show, so it's not like they have to pay the venue costs whatsoever, because they're doing it for the SmackDown taping anyways. So that's why they can get Main Event Live. I can see where people are saying, bring the ROHs and the New Japans and the, all those other shows. It would definitely make the network work viable and much more interesting. But if you want to do live shows, that's a problem, because you would have to cover all the production costs it would take to have these shows. Maybe on the archive footage, yeah, that would be cool, but by then you would already read the results and you already know who won the G1 tournament or who won Battle of Los Angeles or who won at Best in the World. So, it would be interesting. It would be a good dynamic, but at the end of the day, it would hurt the WWE more than help the WWE You know, if the WWE was much more successful and they had a lot more money under their pocket, yeah, it could work. But I don't think it would ultimately help the network overall, especially if it was just in America, because I don't think if Americans are that interested in wrestling in general. What are your guys' thoughts on that?
I definitely agree. Yeah.
I mean, it'd be cool, I guess, to see it. Cause think about this too. Ustream, the provider that does the pay-per-views from New Japan and potentially Ring of Honor now, I think a month from now or a couple months, they'll be out of the pay-per-view business.
Yeah.
And if you look at Ring of Honor, they have been for years the laughing stock when it comes to pay-per-view.
Yeah.
And for New Japan, Ustream is your access to get noticed in the States, pretty much.
Yep.
So this would be pretty much far-fetched, but I wouldn't be surprised if WWE decided to throw them a lifeline.
Yeah.
But again, back to what you're saying as well. Cost would be the big issue here. Providing them on the network and all that. But at the same time, with WWE situation, they want subscribers. They need subscribers on the network in any way, shape, or form. And hey, people will come in and subscribe to the network, and so be it. But again, it's really, really far-fetched to happen.
And also another thing too is that it comes down to also talent that you would see on these shows, because then you would eventually be like, oh, I need to see Okada in the WWE. Oh, I need to see AJ Styles in the WWE. I need to see Michael Elgin in the WWE. I need to see the Young Bucks in the WWE. That's the thing. You guys are pretty much, the WWE is pretty much promoting other products and other forms of competition. It's not like they're going to be gaining these superstars coming on to wrestle for their WWE product. And and the thing is, this is the WWE's philosophy now. If you want to come wrestle for the WWE, you have to go to the NXT, because we don't want another fucking Sin Cara. We do not want another Sin Cara. There are guys out there, yes, like a Bobby Roode and an AJ Styles. We all know Jeff Hardy wouldn't have to go through NXT. He would just come in there, do his little humping dance, and the fans will go crazy. Kurt Angle, he doesn't need to go through fucking NXT. He's set for life. But, that's the thing. If you're going to showcase these talents onto the network, people are going to assume, shit, I got to see these guys on WWE TV soon. Otherwise, why should I get invested in these guys? Why should I care that this guy's the CMLL champion if I'm never going to see the CMLL champion take on the WWE champion? So that's the problem, is that, you would have all these shows and wrestling on there, but it's just like at the end of the day, you're sitting there and saying, will I ever see these motherfuckers on WWE TV? That's just the problem. You will never see most of these guys make their way to WWE, because they're probably going to get paid more, doing stuff in their own respective organizations. I guarantee you, freaking AJ Styles would get paid a hell of a lot more for what he's doing in New Japan than what he would ever make in WWE. Same with the top CMLL star right now. I bet you that motherfucker is getting paid way more than if he were to jump ship to WWE. He's getting paid a lot more pesos than what the WWE can offer him. And, the list can go on and on. So that's also another problem you have with showing these other international stars. It's just some of them might not even make it to the WWE. And then we would be pissed off when they do come to the WWE, because we saw them be successful in New Japan and all that other crap. And it's just like they're fucking failures in the WWE, and you're like, wow, I just watched this guy on the network put on this great match, but this guy can't beat Heath Slater. What the fuck? So that's another thing that you're going to run into if you do show that. But it's definitely an interesting idea and concept. I think it's more like if they can buy them out and get the tape library, yeah, for sure, that's cool. I really feel like they need TNA's tape library. I think TNA's tape library would be awesome on the WWE network. But at the end of the day, I don't think it's that needed, that you need other wrestling, because your focus is the WWE. Your focus is not your outside competition.
Yeah, I think it's because they're not under the WWE umbrella.
Yeah.
It's not in their best interest from a business perspective that they're going to do it. Would it be great to have access to all those? Absolutely, but I just don't see WWE sticking their neck out, especially like you were saying, just from a cost-effective thing. If they're having trouble struggling with that and they're trying to cut $20 million, I don't think they're going to go ahead and stick their necks out financially to try and acquire this as well, too. I think if TNA goes, or ROH, or any of the other federations down the road, then yeah, but it's not worth it for them right now.
Yeah. Steven, what are your final thoughts on that before we wrap this up?
On the what was it again?
About the network and showing all the different promotions and stuff like that on
I
there.
mean, again, it'll be great. I mean, if WWE needs people to subscribe to the network, if their goal is to reach 1 million by the end of the year, you know what I mean? I think they will eventually with, now that the network is now available in 170 countries around the world. But it sucks that the UK had to wait till October. But then again, I don't live in the UK.
And that's probably their best fan base when it comes down to it.
Exactly. So, but at the end of the day, if they were to do that, bring in some content from New Japan, from Ring of Honor, being that, WWE has endorsed Ring of Honor so much through the talent that has come from ROH to WWE. Bryan, Punk, Cesaro, Rollins, now Steen, now Zayn in developmental, even Kenta, who was at one time in Ring of Honor.
Yes.
It'd be cool, I guess, to share some of their matches, against them, against each other on the network. If they're able to do it, but again, it'd be cool to see pay-per-views and all that on the net. But it goes back to what you're saying too. Cost will be the big issue here. Would they be able to get all, pay for all that too? That's the question. And I don't really see it happening either. But if they could, hey, if you want subs on the network, you gotta do what's best for business.
Yeah, it definitely would help with subs, but it's just at the end of the day, I don't know how it would just benefit WWE unless ROH becomes like a second developmental territory for them. That's where I definitely think it could work out.
Technically, and people might give me shit for this, but if you think about it, Ring of Honor is like a developmental territory.
Yeah, no, it is.
For the WWE.
It really is. I don't think people should get upset by that. It really is. I think it is.
How dare you say that, HeelSteven? How dare you say that? We're going to get you at the New York City shows now. We're going to get the pitchforks and fire. Oh, my God. Run for your life now. But, I mean, it is. It is. Same as CZW. Same as Dragon Gate.
Yeah, because these guys, if you're like, let's say, for example, I'm a 21-year-old. If I'm working at Ring of Honor when I'm 21 years old, I am just thinking to myself, this is a great opportunity for me. I'm getting a huge break in the professional wrestling business. But let's say you're a 27-year-old. You don't want to say, I want to make my legacy here in Ring of Honor. No, you want to make your legacy in the big leagues. You want to go to WWE.
Well, at the time, either it'll be WWE or TNA to get that exposure.
Yeah, exactly.
TNA, as we speak right now, they still have Spike TV for however days left. They still got
Spike.
Spike.
25th of September, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, but still, I mean, think about this. WWE, TNA are the two main big ones. The two big companies with the national exposure. Same thing with I put Ring of Honor in the same. I consider them 2014's version of ECW.
Yeah.
Being that there are. The talent there are, pretty much magnets for either TNA or WWE.
Exactly.
How ECW was for WWE or WCW. Now, I'm not saying that the talent that went from Ring of Honor to TNA are bad, because they're not either. Samoa Joe, Austin Aries, the Wolves. You know what I'm saying? But it's one of those things where, wherever you go, just to get that exposure. But of course. Everyone wants to go to WWE. You can ask any guy right now in TNA. Like, I'll give you an example. You can ask, what's his name right now?
Okay, Bully Ray literally just said in an interview, absolutely, he would go back to WWE in a heartbeat. So any TNA guy will jump ship to WWE if they had the opportunity presented to them.
He said it best. There you go.
Exactly. But thank you, Steven, and thank you, Okayfabe, for coming on here and talking about SummerSlam and a bunch of wrestling. It's definitely fun. Definitely need to bring you guys back on for another show. Okayfabe, do you have anything to say to the viewers out there before we sign off?
In terms of just plugging stuff, or just in general about SummerSlam?
Oh, just in general and plugging stuff as well, yeah.
I'm looking forward to SummerSlam. I think it's going to be an interesting show one way or the other. And I guess if you want to check out my YouTube channel, it's right there, youtube.com/OKFabeForever. And
it's also in the description box of this video, so make sure to click it on there as well. It's also down there. Already put it on there for you guys. Steven, what about you? Any general thoughts / plugs that you want to give?
Well, as far as SummerSlam is concerned, I'm looking forward to it. The good, the bad, the ugly, the sexiness, it can work. All in that in one, and we'll see what happens from that. And Thank you, Chase, for having me on.
No
And
problem, man.
we can't wait to have you on Friday for the Team Hill podcast.
Yes, I will be on the Team Hill podcast Friday. Tomorrow, I'll be. Yes, applause. The Lady Gaga song. That's my favorite song right now.
Also, yeah, if you want to subscribe to my YouTube channel, I'm not forcing anybody out there, but if you'd like to, be best for business.
Yeah, I brought these two. I brought these two guys on here because these two are one of my favorite YouTubers right now. So I watch their videos. I like their content, so that's why I bring them on. If I like you, I'm going to bring you on to the not the podcast, to the Google Hangout to talk some wrestling. So, but anyways, this is for the archive people. People in the archive. I understand this is a long video, and a lot of you guys won't watch most of it. I will try my best tomorrow to have it where I will have all the thumbnails to where the times of where we start talking about all the matches and then where we get into the Q&A. So in case you guys want to know my thoughts or Steven's thoughts or Okayfabe's thoughts on it, there will be like time links to it of when we start talking about the matches and everything. So I'll try to get that to you guys by Wednesday or Thursday for sure. Once again, thank you to Steven and Okayfabe for coming on. If you guys like this video, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Give this video a big old thumbs up. Tomorrow I have a video for you guys. Thursday I have the Q&A. Friday I have Impact and NXT reviews. Saturday I got something planned. And Sunday, WWE SummerSlam review and also live review with my boy Anton from the More to Life radio show. Bunch of stuff coming onto my channel. I hope you guys enjoyed this Google Hangout. Thank you all very much. I'll see you all next time. Peace. Check out Okayfabe and check out Steve.
Right. Peace.